Oh, one more thing, and this is so important. Whenever we're not alone or I'm on the phone and I ask you something, doesn't matter what it is, you always say, "I'm right on top of that, Rose." Okay? Okay.
You're listening to The Skeleton Crew exclusively on horrorbit.com and the Horrorphilia Podcast Network.
All right, all you skeleton crew, thrill me, you sons of bitches.
Big fan of your show. Me and the other guy who listens. I think it's fantastic.
This is Danny Doyle, a.k.a. Machete. He don't text, and he don't listen to the Skeleton Crew either.
What's up, guys? Happy 4th of July. It's the Skeleton Crew. We're bringing you a blast from the past from 2018. This is a review of Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, 1991. This is kind of like a horror movie. I always wanted to review it. It's not Freddy's Dead. My name is Al, and I am joined by Jamie. What's up, Jamie?
Hello. I am excited to be here. This is fun. This is really fun.
Yeah, I've always wanted to talk about this movie, and now we have the forum to do it. And we're here with Dan Chase. What's up, Dan?
What's up? The dishes are done, man.
And a special introduction for the guy who you haven't heard since September 3rd, 2016, in our show number 120.5 when we broke into our Phantasm retrospective to hurry up and review Rob Zombie's 31, JP from 22 Shots of Moods and Horror. JP, what's up, Justin?
It feels so good to be back. I'm excited. I've been missing recording with you, and I've never recorded with Jamie and Dan, so this is pretty cool.
I know, isn't that weird?
Yeah, it is actually weird, because I did do a Skeleton Crew episode, kind of, and you guys weren't there.
Well, that always happens whenever we had anybody on the Skeleton Crew. For whatever people probably thought that I was just a big snob and I didn't, want to record with them, because it always happens. If you go back and listen to where we had guests on, most of the time I wasn't there.
I will not record with him.
I had somebody recently hit me up and be like, "Are you and Dave Z the same person? I've never heard you in the same room at the same time." I was like, "No, there's definitely episodes, but it's few and far between."
That's funny. Yeah, well, we're all together now. This is a great reason to get together. I believe we all grew up with this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When this came out, I was the age that she is in the movie. So, I was basically her. No, I mean, I wasn't her, but...
You were actually Christina Applegate back then?
Don't I wish. No, but I was 17 when this came out, so this was... I could relate,
right.
To some of it. Not obviously, not all of it, but I never stuffed an old lady into a trunk.
I have, I was going to say, but we'll get into that later. Now, this is great timing. I wanted to do this timing. I wanted to do this in between season 4 and 5 because that's when it was filmed.
Oh, right.
Wow.
We're only 4 episodes into 5, so I mean, this is exactly what Kelly Bundy looks like at this point of what we're doing.
That's what I was going to say. She looked exactly the same. I thought it was, I was like, what year was this movie made? I knew it was in the 90s, but I knew it was right around that time.
Yeah.
I had watched this movie a lot growing up. Hadn't seen it in quite a while, actually, now. On this rewatch. But yeah, I watched this all the time. I was born when it came out.
Wow.
But yeah,
wow.
Same year. But I did watch it.
Are you my kid? You can totally be my kid.
Wait, guys, now rehearse. Okay, Mommy.
Okay, but yeah, so it was a tape, and I remember, being a horror fan and things like that. It had "Dead" in the title, and I thought it was a horror film that we had on tape, and I watched it, and it wasn't, but I still really liked it, and continued to watch it
Yeah.
You know.
Even the cover, JP, it looks like it, you know, with her legs up and stuff like that. Like, I always thought that it was like a horror comedy or something.
Yeah. And there is some like spooky like score going on when the babysitter's actually they find her dead.
Very Psycho-esque.
Yeah, I thought it was a sample, but I don't know. Was it? You would know better than me.
I focused pretty hard on it, and it was they just did an amazing job of like...
Yeah, ripping it off.
Pretty much.
It's starting to stink. No, it's too soon. It must be you. Shut up.
Now be careful.
I got her.
No, I mean my skateboard.
Grab my foot.
Sure she's gonna fit?
How the hell should I know? I've never done this before.
Well, neither have I.
I think we should measure her first. Let's hack off her head. Yeah. All right, go get that metal tape measure thing out of the garage.
Would you stop ordering us around? You're not the babysitter.
That's right, Kenny. The babysitter is dead. Now just do it.
So yeah, let's real quick zip through the cast. I don't want to spend, there's so much to talk about. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but Christina Applegate, that's why we're doing this. Kelly Bundy herself, her first lead role. She's 19 years old at this point, and she actually had to gain weight to play a teenager. Believe it or not, she gained 10 pounds to play a 17-year-old.
So there's no thin teenagers, huh?
I know, right? Apparently not.
And she lost all of it soon after to film Married with Children again. So I don't even understand what that's all about. And like,
seems dangerous.
It's like, why would you have to gain weight to look 2 years younger? I don't get it.
Yeah.
Maybe her features were too sharp, and they wanted to
soften it,
to soften her up, give her more of a baby face. Like,
I mean, she does look older, to be honest. Like, I mean, I'm sure it's makeup too, and wardrobe and stuff, obviously. But I guess they were trying to make her look younger, though, right? Like, I don't know. It's like back and forth because she looks young. She's dressing up to look older, so it's like, you know.
Well, her demeanor is also older.
Well, she probably needed to gain weight to fill out those shoulder pads.
The big poofy shoulder pads. Oh my god.
Oh boy.
Yeah, the styles in this movie. We'll definitely get into that at some point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The weird thing about this, and I had the same issue when it came out, is reconciling this character with the Kelly character, because you're so used to seeing her as Kelly that, and you know, you're used to seeing her being airheaded and Kelly. So it's kind of bizarre to see her in this situation looking the same because, you know, she's much more intelligent than she usually is. So
it's a complete opposite.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like she probably intentionally went for a role like that, something mature and intelligent and like a leader of the like a leader in the film to kind of, so she didn't get like maybe typecast as ditzy.
Well, believe it or not, this movie was, when they wrote the script, it was intended for Winona Ryder. And Ed O'Neill actually handed Christina Applegate the script. That's how she got it. She wasn't even supposed to do
nice
it.
Guy.
Yeah.
I could totally see her in the role, though. Winona.
I can, but I'm glad that it's Christina. I think.
Agreed.
I think it really works better with her. I was never a big Winona Ryder fan anyway. Mm-hmm. She was okay, but I was not nuts about her.
Right.
Yeah, plus she would have stolen from that clothing store they were in.
That's right, I am. They wouldn't be able to keep anything. And
she would have stolen all the petty cash and not given it back.
Yeah, at least this one tried to give it back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just want to say that although like Kelly Bundy's so like embedded in my brain with the visual of her, for some reason I still buy this character. Like, I think she's Sue Ellen Crandall every time I watch this. I don't think of her as Kelly Bundy. I mean, of course it keeps popping in my head or whatever, but I really just I'm along for the ride. Like, she does a good job of taking you out of that, you know?
I would agree with that, and that's not always the case too. Like in Anchorman, I can't not see her as Kelly Bundy. You know what I mean? Like it's a distinct character in Anchorman, but I still can't differentiate that character. But in this, I totally agree with you without a doubt.
Really good. Good stuff. So, Joanna Cassidy is Rose. I'm right on top of that, Rose. John Getz is Gus.
Oh, God. Gus.
He's so creepy.
My God, dude. He's the, like, he's just like,
Creep level through the roof.
You think he would survive 2 seconds in the Me Too movement?
Right? Exactly. This is different times.
He's such a creep. Josh Charles is Brian, the annoying clown dog boy. Keith Coogan, he's really cool. He's Kenny. When he was trying out to get this job, they weren't sure they wanted him because he was like 20 years old. So he wasn't really killing it at the audition. So then he came back in a stoner outfit with a wig on, and he got the part that way. He was actually trying to play Brian in the beginning. And then he went for Kenny. Thank God, right? Like, how perfect. He seems like...
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
He is Kenny, you know?
I have a big problem with stoners in movies. As you can tell, we've talked about this on the Friday the 13th Part 3 show. If anybody ever wants to go back to that, I have a huge problem with overacting and overdoing it. And I thought that right out of the gate, this guy played the perfect stoner.
Right.
Yeah, he was really good.
It was authentic. It wasn't annoying.
Right.
He really looks the part. It was just so good.
Okay, that guy with that fellows, I swear that there are like 2 or 3 stoner guys that were in every movie around this time.
Yeah.
They just kept popping up as stoner guys in movies, you know. There's the one that has really long red hair.
He was in Point Break as a stoner, too.
Okay, there we go.
Is that
Thank
what it was?
you. I was like, I know I've seen that guy as a stoner.
Yep.
Where was he? I didn't know if it was like Heather's. I don't know. I knew I've seen him somewhere. So thank you. I feel much better now because it was driving me nuts.
Yeah, he was under the blanket with the pot coming out of it, and then the guy comes up and cuts his hair, remember?
Right.
He cut my hair, man. Keith Coogan comes... So he's in 2 movies where, like, the babysitter thing, Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, and Adventures in Babysitting.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I actually compare these movies a lot. If there were 2 movies to encompass nostalgia, it'd be these 2. Yeah.
We got Concetta Tomei as the mom, who did herself a disservice by lying about her age. David Duchovny is he's sort of a dick in this movie, and he's really annoying.
He looks really young, too.
It's weird, right? Kimmy Robertson is the girl who was on Married with Children with that strange voice. She was the one who was helping Sue Ellen do the QED reports.
Yep. She's got to be a cartoon character voice actress, right?
Yeah, I definitely have heard her before.
She has to be. Yeah.
Jane Brooke is Carolyn, the girl who talks like she's chewing her face.
Yeah, I hate Carolyn.
She's the worst.
Everybody knows somebody like her, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, she did a good job of being who she is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
When I was a little kid, I used to think like that was the quintessential villain.
The one thing that's always stuck out to me with her was when she says, "You are supposed to go to personnel." There is
literally
a sign
knew,
that
like,
says, she taps her head. Personnel. You know,
I literally said that out loud while she was doing it because I remembered it so deeply. Yeah, you're right. It's a highlight.
It is, definitely. Etta Marin is Miss Sturak. She was actually not 200. She was 77 years old.
How long did she live after this movie?
Not very long. I think
2 days.
I think she died before they were done filming. She actually died.
Actually her in the trunk.
That was her in the trunk. They just figured, hey. No, she lived 7 more years, believe it or not.
Wow.
Robert Gorman is Walt.
I know him from Leprechaun.
Yes, and he's in Rookie of the Year as well.
Cool. Daniel Harris is Melissa.
Who's that?
I don't know. That little girl in the baseball outfit? No, we're just kidding. Obviously, we're big horror fans. She's a iconic horror character. She was in Halloween 4, 5.
Laid to Rest 2.
Yeah, Laid to Rest.
See No Evil 2.
Yeah, I was going to say See No Evil 2. She was in and Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2. And she's known for this. It says Don't Tell Mom, Halloween 4, Halloween 2, Rob Zombie, and The Boy Scout, The Last Boy Scout. So those are her big 4 movies, I guess.
Well, because even though she still works a lot, she mostly does cameos now. I mean, it's rare that you see her in an actual full role. She was obviously in the Rob Zombie Halloween films, and then she was in Stakeland. She had a major role in Stakeland, but typically she'll show up like in, say, even as far back as like 98 with Urban Legend. She showed up, she just played a cameo. She was the goth chick, and then she got killed. Wow. So she rarely does full movies anymore. It's weird.
Yeah. That's so crazy you mentioned that, Jamie. I just watched that last night.
Urban Legend?
Yeah.
She was in 7 episodes of Roseanne. She was trying to date, what's her name's boyfriend? Christopher Pettit. Yeah. Maybe it's just Petite. I don't know.
Or I think it's Pettit.
Pettit. Oh. Let's just go with Pettit.
Yeah, it sounds like a normal name.
Like a dog, just Pettit.
Not like a little skinny boy. Christopher Pettit.
He also had to gain 10 pounds.
He is Zach. He was also in Point Break.
Yeah, and he died of an overdose.
Really?
Yeah.
In the year 2000.
Wow.
In the year 2000, he died of an overdose. Now, about this guy. Now, it's the year 2018. Did anybody else get serious fucking Skarsgård vibes from this kid?
Yeah, you're right. The guy played It.
Yeah.
Oh.
Literally, like, his eyes, everything about every feature this kid had reminded me of Skarsgård, without a doubt. Especially,
which one was he?
He was Pennywise.
No, in this movie.
Oh, he was Zach, the guy who was trying to date that girl and bought her a diamond?
Yeah.
The middle brother.
Correct.
Oh, yeah, I can totally see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that weird? So, the weird thing about him is that production, it stopped towards the end, almost stopped towards the end of the shooting because of his drug addiction, which was starting to get out of control. So the producers cut a few scenes to keep the film on schedule.
He was like
in this movie?
Yeah.
Really?
He was.
Jesus.
Wow.
He's a regular Feldman. Corey. He's one of the Coreys.
Judging by the time, it had to have 91. It could have been heroin. It was probably coke, though.
Yeah.
So this kid, which makes sense. That actually makes sense now, because I was gonna say earlier that like he felt like the weakest character. It's probably because all his scenes got cut.
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense, because it felt like they tried to put a lot of effort into him being this like ladies' man who. Right. And, he was showering her with gifts. And, like, his relationship with this girl, it seemed like it should have been a bigger thing. Mm-hmm. Because he's, like, all suddenly upset about it. And you're over here like, why should I care? We saw her once, So right. I wonder if that's why. That's interesting. Yeah. How old was he?
I know, right?
He was born in 76.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So he was 14. Yeah.
He looks younger.
A regular day in Chase.
It's about the same time. You're right, JP. Good call.
Well, I guess we can get into it, right? He's the last guy. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Okay. So the mom's leaving for Australia for 2 months. Sue Ellen's with her friends in a clothing store, and you get a glimpse of her life before all these responsibilities. Like, she got to hang out with her friends, they went shopping, that she thought she was going to have some cool summer. She can do whatever she wants because the mom will be gone for that long, and she has free reign to do whatever. How does no one know that they're getting a babysitter till 5 minutes before the mom leaves? Like, is that supposed to be like some, hey, great surprise to make all you guys pissed off right before I leave?
Oh, no.
Maybe because she didn't want to fight with them because she knew how they would.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that the best answer and the most obvious answer is because this is the worst mother ever. Literally worst mother of all time. And we're going to get into that. But first of all, who leaves their kids for 2 months? First of all, okay, they don't even address the fact that where's the father. I guess we're all supposed to just assume.
They mentioned him a few times.
Yeah, I wish Daddy was here. She's like, no, you don't.
Okay. Or like, you don't, or something like that. That's not true or something.
Well, and they say at one point, let's call Dad. And
yeah, he doesn't care.
Clearly, it's not.
Let's blackmail Dad.
Would it ever be okay though to leave your 5 kids for 2 months?
I mean, okay, yeah, yes and no. The one girl's 17.
Right.
I mean, that's nearly 18. You know, I mean, I can't say that wouldn't happen in my family. You know, it maybe not. And honestly, like the younger kids aren't that young. They're not like babies or something. They still need watch. And then you got, I assume that the brother, Kenny, has to be like 17 or 16, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, I mean, it's not as bad as leaving like children home.
Right, except for like the 3 younger ones, but with those 2 there, I mean, and thank God we have some footage of the mom standing up. I mean, did she ever get off her back? 5 kids?
Right!
In 17 years?
That's what I'm saying. She's the worst mother ever. It's ridiculous.
Brian came walking into the room at one point when I was watching this, and he goes, and it was toward the end when the mom was talking to her in the kitchen, and he's just walking by. He goes, "That is an unfortunate looking woman," and kept on going. I was like, oh.
It's so true.
Here's the amazing part: how stupid she is. She says, "Because I need a break after 37 years." Honey, you're 46 years old. So are you trying to tell us that those kids made you look like that? Because I'm 39 and you look like you could be my mom.
Well, yeah, I was like, yeah, bite your tongue, lady. Like, there is no way you're younger than me.
Yeah, 37, my ass.
How old is Walter? Like the youngest one, would you say?
10.
So she had 5 kids in like 7 years or something, right?
That's not a lot of wiggle room.
Yeah, you're right. Like, God, did she ever stand up?
That's awful.
Yeah, I mean, I would even be afraid to let her go to Australia for 2 months. I mean, what's she going to do? Come back with a kangaroo in her pouch? And the house looks like it does. Like, literally, in the end, Sue Ellen is a better mother than she is. And
God. Like a way better mother.
Yeah, like the kid asks, he goes to steal the money. She goes, just ask for it. He goes, okay, can I have $10 little? She says no. Like, it's very odd. I don't know.
Okay, she was gone for 2 months. She was supposed to be. Was it 1 week shy of 2 months, actually? And yeah, worst mother ever. She came back looking like she literally just like fought a kangaroo. Like, that was another thing. It was like, all right, like, we get it. She was in Australia. You don't need to like give her the hat and the whole getup.
Yeah, I'm surprised she didn't come back going, "Good eye, mate."
Right.
Had some crocodile attached to it.
Exactly, yeah.
This followed me home.
Don't tell mom Steve Irwin's single. Yeah. But no, I honestly think that with all the characters, like you said, Sue Ellen's a better mother. I honestly really do enjoy the character development for mostly everyone, but we'll get into that. But mainly her and what's his name?
Her brother, Kenny.
Kenny, yeah.
So yeah, Kenny is a dirtbag. He's like a metalhead. He ignores the mom when he's leaving. She says, "Just take dishes out of a dishwasher." Apparently, that's hard for these kids. Like,
she tells him to mow the lawn, but if you look at the lawn, it's like dead. Like, there's nothing to mow.
That too. As a landscaper, that was the first thing I noticed. I was like,
what lawn? Mow the dirt.
Plant the lawn, as she should be saying.
Yeah.
When Sue Ellen pulls up, I like it when the 2 cars are in front of the house because you can see the complete difference between her friends and Kenny's friends. And it's like, that's why you don't get those types of chicks, because you're a dirtbag and you hang out with dirtbags. So that's
the early 90s in one frame too.
Oh God.
Oh my God. Great. Yep.
Absolutely. Miss Sturak comes and Sue Ellen's very nice when she opens the door until she realizes, she's like, What are you here for? And she just slams the door in her face and goes and yells at the mom.
Yeah. Well,
kind of like Elle
that's
does.
also like the character development of her too, because she seems kind of snobby. She seems kind of like self-centered. She seems kind of rude,
shallow,
and maybe spoiled, shallow, all this stuff at the beginning. And literally all of those things I just mentioned get taken away through time throughout the movie. So yeah, that's why Dan says, she has like the best character development, because she's losing the most bad attributes and gaining the most good ones by the end.
I know that we see her smoke a lot in the beginning, and then there is the time in the office when David Duchovny comes into her office and she's on the phone and she's smoking. But doesn't she just stop throughout toward the end of the film? I don't feel like we see her smoke anymore.
She doesn't after the David Duchovny. I'm almost positive.
Okay. Yeah. Because I noticed it was just part of her character, and then whatever. And I remember the David Duchovny scene, and then suddenly I was like, hey, I haven't seen her do that in a while.
You had the old lady pull it out of her mouth, and you had Gus light it at the lunch they went to, but that was about it. Besides what you said. So yeah, I think she kind of just grew up with that too, and just kind of bailed on it.
Yeah, I mean, her mom doesn't care at all that she's smoking, because she's laying on the sunbathing smoking. I don't know if she's noticed that.
In front of her mom, I know, I noticed that. So this lady comes off like she's nice. Oh, yes, dear, I could take care of these kids, blah, blah. And as soon as the mom leaves, she blows this whistle.
All right, you little maggots, now line up. Time to go over the rules.
Excuse me? Are you serious?
You can't run a tight ship without rules. Now move!
Jeez, what's this lady's problem? Scared? Yeah, skeleton's scared. Look, lady, I don't know what your deal is, but you're not here to order us around.
I've had about enough of your lip, Missy. Cooperate, or I'll make your summer a living hell!
Dr. Louise Westside.
Alaska. Alaska container. Alaska spill. Hey! I was watching that.
TV rots your brains. Go to your room. I expect a complete report tomorrow morning on the life of the aardvark.
She interrupts Zach's date. She dresses Melissa up in a pink dress. All these kids want to kill her at this point. Kenny is never even home, and I'm gonna.
He never meets her, right? I was noticing that while watching it. He never actually meets her or knows there's a babysitter, does he?
No, and you know what stuck out to me when he never knows there's a babysitter, but he doesn't seem right, because no one knew until she rang the doorbell, so he never even knew there was one. So the odd part is later on in the movie, he goes, "She was a really great babysitter."
Yeah, I'm like, what?
It's like, what?
The best part's when she goes into his room, though.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what ended up eventually being her demise. Was metal music. Yeah.
That was so awesome. Yeah. So, it leads to a heart attack of some kind or whatever. So, this lady dies, and she even falls forward and stuff, and lands. I was like, wow, she's doing stunt work, this old lady. But I don't know how they even got that scene to happen. But yeah, so Swellen goes in there and stands up for herself and says, "Listen, we're not going to listen to you. You're not going to push us around, this and that." And then she dies.
Really, all she says is the name tags. They just got to go.
Yeah, right. Name tags. Who does that?
It was kind of believable. You know how sometimes you talk about outlandish circumstances? Literally, honestly, think about it. A bunch of kids at home alone, and they're like, well,
I told you to talk to her. We didn't want you to send her to the glue factory.
I didn't kill her, Zach. She died in her sleep.
Probably choked on her whistle. She doesn't look dead. That's because it just happened, so you can't really tell. Like a MacGyver?
What should we do with her body?
Call an ambulance? Call the cops? I don't know. I mean, they're gonna come and get her. They're gonna ask us a lot of questions.
They'll probably blame us.
They'll definitely call Mom.
She'll blame us.
She'll hop the next flight home, and then she'll be in our faces.
I don't want Mom to come home.
I don't either.
Yeah, me neither. To me, that is kind of logical. I'd find a way to...
You would dump an old lady in a...
I don't know if I would dump her, but I guess, how could you maybe just drive her to, a place, a park, and say, hey, this old lady just collapsed?
Just take her out to her car and say, hey, there's an old lady in a car out in our driveway.
Something like that, just so
she
they don't
dead.
call my mom, Yeah, so I would try to do the same thing in a sense. There's no money in the envelope that the mom left them, which is a big plot point of the whole movie. I guess the old lady took it and put it on her person, and then when they stuffed her and dumped her...
She seems like the type.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you have frisked the body before you stuffed it in the trunk? I mean,
I've never
I
stuffed my body in a
right.
trunk before. I don't know what I would do.
I wouldn't have thought she had taken my money necessarily, but I know she damn well wouldn't need hers.
Oh,
Right.
yeah. Yeah.
We were rolling the babysitter.
Exactly.
Fair point.
And forget about Peg. Sue Ellen's the new U-turn queen. Did you see the U-turn she did when they realized that they had no money?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yep.
That was wild, man. What do you think of their house, real quick? Like, that whole setting. I think it's amazing.
It's a nice house.
It is, right? And it's amazing how it's so disgusting. And it's like the perfect conversion house, you know? It's perfect for that disgusting, trashy look that could be converted into what it becomes later.
Well, that's actually my biggest problem with the movie, though. Do you guys know where I'm headed with this?
That they did all that they did in like 5 days.
Did you see them scrubbing the pool? Come on.
Yeah, and painting outside of the house like it was Revenge of the Nerds or something.
Get out of here.
They're like sanding down all the
the post.
and not only that, but I mean, like, they don't have money at this point either.
Exactly.
They just have paint on hand from when their dad used to live there.
Yeah.
Like, I know Kenny's not out there painting. The mom doesn't look like she's doing much painting.
Yeah, the dad's not coming back to get the paint.
Well, I wanted to know, like, I get that, you know, we see where they get the ice sculpture from. Where did they get all the sound equipment and the stage equipment and all of the stuff like that? Because she had used all the petty cash money.
Yeah.
So, I'm over here going, where did you know, like, I get, you know, you have enough people helping, and the idea is that if enough people are helping you out, you can get a lot done in a short period of time.
Right.
We see those montages in movies all the time.
Yep.
But some of this stuff that they did requires a lot of money, and they did not have that. So
or an explanation, like you said, they could have easily just given that to the Stoner Friends, and like, because they're also metalheads, they could have been in a band or something, and they brought it, right?
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, wow, there you go.
Yeah. Someone's in a band. There you go. That was easy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, no, because he tells him thanks for helping out or whatever, and I'm like, what did he do besides TP David Duchovny's car? Like, they didn't really do anything.
That's a lot.
I thought Kenny's
I've seen
room
it happen.
looked very realistic to rooms that I've been in my teens. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it looks exactly like I had this one friend named Dean, and his room was like always and he had all those like poster like mushrooms and chicks and stuff and music, like he's really into music, so like all that stuff. Yeah, it reminded me just like that.
Yeah, I loved it. It's a great setting, great backdrop to everything, and it's very a cozy place. Although it's so dirty and scuzzy, it's also familiar or something like that.
One thing that I also will add here is that the chemistry between all the kids is really good. They feel like siblings.
Yeah.
Yes.
They really do.
JP, I'm glad you brought that up, because I've been watching a lot of movies lately with family dynamics, and it's glaringly obvious when you don't get it right. But with this, it seemed like from the jump, like you just totally bought all these kids as a family, you know, because all the smaller kids, like even Danielle Harris, doesn't have that many lines in it. In this movie, obviously less for even Skarsgård, but I'm just saying it's like they all kind of flowed perfectly, so I'm glad you brought that up. And talking about the house, though, it reminded me of like the Shameless house, did it not? Anybody watch that show?
A little bit. Yeah,
it was kind of that vibe too, but we'll get into this a little later, but yeah,
everything feels very lived in. I really like it. So they do a Bundy joke in here when they talk about all the food's gone. Somebody says we could eat Elvis. And Elvis gets up and walks away. It's very Buck-esque.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a cool little nod, maybe. So
yeah.
And that house got really dirty really quick.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Can I just add that, like, it was like day one, the countertop was just a mess. But, like,
Well, I think it was pretty dirty before she even left.
I'm saying the worst ever.
If you looked at, like, there was stuff stacked up on the front porch, like everything was all peeling and nasty. There was when we got that overhead shot of the staircase when she went to answer the door.
There's newspapers all over.
There's stuff like all down the stairs, you know. So clearly this stuff was out of control beforehand. But like I said,
Horrible
it's
mom.
that I like it because it is realistic. Because typically in movies, no matter what's going on in people's lives, somehow their houses are spotless.
Right.
And it's like, wow, you have like,
5
and it doesn't matter
kids.
what the movie's about, you know, but it's, you know, you've got all this going on, whatever's happening in the movie in your life, and yet nothing is out of place and everything is dust free. And it doesn't feel normal. It doesn't feel right, you know, because there are times in everyone's lives when you've got, I don't know, say, for instance, you're working 3 jobs and you come home and you just stack stuff on the counter for, you know, so for like a week, stuff just piles up. And then, you know, you eventually get a really rare day off after, say, 41 days. And then you...
This sounds very...
it's very specific.
True to life.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's almost like you're ranting here.
I still haven't even unpacked from Minnesota. That was like 2 months ago.
No, but I completely know what you mean. You get that day off and then you just clean like crazy, and then a week later it's just like you feel suffocated. You're like, oh my, how did I let this happen again?
Right.
And you realize it's because you're so damn tired you don't feel like doing anything.
Yep.
Well, somebody has to do something. One of them have to get a job because they have no money. So they flip a pizza. Turns out Swellen has to work. And what's weird is the first thing she says is, it's okay, I'll get a job in a clothing store. They'll die to hire me because I guess she's like fashionable. And the first thing you see her doing is working in Clown Dog. Like
It literally cuts right to it.
Right, and it's like, shouldn't we have a scene in the middle here where they say, I'm sorry, there's just nothing, or blah, 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 you know. There's nothing that shows us why she didn't get a cool job. And she just get this scummy job, like scrubbing buckets of fat and grease out of vats.
Because then you couldn't do the montage later where she circles all the things on the newspaper.
Montage. You know what's weird too? Just by coincidence, I actually ate a Celeste pizza earlier in the day before watching this movie.
Dude, I believe you because you mentioned that in one of our shows like 5 years ago.
And you want to know the best thing about that is I don't even like Celeste pizzas. That
But you've been eating them throughout our whole podcasting career.
I still eat them.
It'd only be more believable if it was mac and cheese.
Oh no, I had that yesterday too. That was for dinner. Yep.
Are you Kenny?
Are you Johnny Lawrence from Cobra Kai?
I wish.
Oh man, I wish.
If this was 3 years ago, I would have said no way. But in 2018, yeah, I'd love to trade places with them.
So she's in Clown Dog, and this weird guy is their boss, and he says, "Hey, do that with a smile." And then he like tells her to take a squeegee and scrub off spitballs. And
It's Pauly Shore.
Right?
Yeah.
Remember that episode?
Yeah, right. And he's Burger Trek or something.
Yeah. But no, man, I remember being a kid and seeing that guy, and he always just like weirded me out. I was like, I feel like this guy's the guy that would tell me to get in his van for some candy or something. You know?
Dude, he's definitely a child molester. You know that.
I love that sad look when she walks out and he's like, "Oh."
Yeah.
You know?
I would have been like, I am out, dude. Like, no. Yeah, take off this stupid outfit too.
You get the idea that Josh Charles is a lot more mature in that respect. You know, he's a hardworking kid.
Oh, Brian,
you know,
yeah.
Brian, sorry, yes. He's a hardworking kid. Do you see him responding to, like, if you worked with her for a day and then she just walked out, and I mean, would you then respond to that if she got in touch with you later, or do you think it's because she's just so hot?
She's hot.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Trust me, guys are very simple.
Super easy.
Yep.
That does not even come into play.
I would not even wonder. I'd forget that she didn't work there. I'd forget everything about it except for what she looked like.
Okay. All right.
Well, and let's face it, because there was a couple jokes made at the expense of that, but really it was just to set up her relationship with Brian for the rest of the movie. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, And I mean, obviously, it came back into play with the truck and all that, and the no food situation and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I honestly thought though that there could have been a lot more comedy to be had with the whole clown dog scenario. Like I thought it was going to be brought up.
Lard is my life.
Yeah, but do you know what it is now though too? I realized about when I rewatched this movie is the pacing is very well done. This movie moves along very well, even with the babysitter. Like for a movie that's called "Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead," she dies and they get rid of her pretty damn quick.
I know, she's like dead in 7 minutes.
Right, like this movie moves along, and it's weird because it seems like the you know, obviously we watch a lot of movies, guys, and you just pick up on things like that, and you know, as a kid I didn't notice it, but seeing a lot of movies do it the wrong way, you look at a movie like this and they really nailed it.
Well, how about this? You know, it is the title Babysitter is in there, and it's like, do you guys wish that we had more time with it? Like, would you have wanted 20 minutes of torture, or do you feel that whatever, you know, she wasn't a nightmare from hell. I mean, it looked like she was going to be and stuff like that, but she just had a kid do a report. She interrupted a date and then dressed up a girl. I mean, that's pretty bad. But I'm saying, like, do you guys wish it was like 20 minutes of an absolute nightmare? Or are you glad that, because would you rather spend time with Sue Ellen's arc?
Yeah, I mean, I think we got enough to get the idea.
Right. I thought the death was going to be a little bit more elaborate.
Well, it was supposed to be, originally. The way they were going to do that is they were going to play out a few more things and give everyone a motive to kill her. And that's why everyone got
dark.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, and then so everyone would be suspect, and they were going to have a whole kind of thing about that. But then they just said, no, let's just move on.
It's way more tongue-in-cheek. The whole babysitter dying thing, even at the end, right, where the tombstone and stuff. Like, they know it's silly, and they just kind of rolled with it.
That's true. Good point. Yep.
So she quits, and she copies a resume out of a resume book. She heads over to GAW, G-A-W, to meet the receptionist from hell.
Excuse me. I'm applying for the receptionist position.
Hold. Reception.
Well, I can't right now. I have to stay and redirect all the incompetents who are coming up here instead of going straight down to personnel like they are supposed to. All right. I'll be right there.
You'll have about 12 seconds.
You are supposed to go down to personnel. That is on the first floor. There is a great big sign that says personnel. Do you understand? Yeah.
Right away, it's like, okay.
That chick would be terrible at customer service. There's no way she would keep that job. Like, I work in customer service, and wow.
I got a question for you guys. Have you guys ever lied on a resume like she did?
Yep.
That's such a quick answer from JP. Yep.
Well, you got to do things that they can't really find out. Like, who's going to, or you know, I used to, like, remember companies that went out of business or whatever, and then just write them in there so they can never actually check with them.
Yep. And you know what? I did exactly what she did, where she just took someone else's. Mm-hmm. My friend Kyle, who used to podcast with us, he gave me his resume, and like it's like expert malware remover. I don't even know how to do any of that. I just put it. I was just like, yep.
You're like, oh, good, we need a guy who could do this. Here.
Yeah. It's also how you word things. Here's a fun little fact, too. My girlfriend loves this movie so much that on all her resumes, she writes the hub of communications.
The hub. I love how Swellen's the hub. And then she said, I can't be your hub. That was so funny. So, just by chance, Swellen bumps into the greatest boss on Earth, Rose.
She's pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah. God, she's so cool, man.
Everything just works out so perfect for Sue Ellen, too. Like, with, like, everything just felt like she gets almost caught so many times, and then the lady's like, wow, you're genius.
Yeah. Is that believable, though? Like, okay, think about this.
You know what? I think it's a case, too, of that she just likes her. Like, this Rose just likes her, and she's just like, she's not going to look at it negatively. right away. You know,
I
like
agree.
whenever she gets caught doing something, like when she was getting the chick with the weird voice to do all the whatever the hell that stuff was. To
the TPS report. I mean the QED report.
What is that? What is that? Is it just like some movie thing, or is that like, does that mean something?
I don't know. I mean, quality. Yep, I don't know.
The receptionist, Carolyn, is supposed to progress to have the part Sue Ellen got, the executive administrative assistant, and Sue Ellen was going to take that job, but Rose just put a whole end to that, got her in.
I think it was really like she just didn't like that other girl, and like was just so willing to take anything besides her, and she just like kind of...
Yeah, that's who... think about this. Sue Ellen saved her from having to work with Carolyn, so she's not going to be mean or want to see her in a negative view, Like, she wants to like Sue Ellen. She's easy to like. She's cool, and she's not a bad person by any means in this movie to Rose. So, yeah, she'll definitely give her a pass and see the brighter side of whatever, see the silver lining in anything, yeah.
And guys, the QED manifesto was a proposal for a computer-based database of all mathematical knowledge, strictly formalized with all proofs having been checked automatically. It stands for Quad ERAT Demonstrate. Which was to be demonstrated.
Oh, so yeah, I was very close.
Right. You were. Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you this real quick. So, have you guys ever been in her situation where you get a job and like maybe it was like minimal training, or you got it like by luck and then just didn't really know what to do at all and you just kind of wing it?
Right.
Yes.
My job now.
I'm doing that now.
Right?
I'm doing that now. Yeah.
I got shoved into a management position and was like, okay.
Is that my desk?
It's crazy though, right? Like, it's so like it's very like there's a lot of pressure involved with that, but at the same time, I feel like that's really the only way to really learn something when you're like really thrown into it. Where it may suck in the beginning, but you just kind of adapt, and that's kind of like this whole movie, right? Like with like we need money. Like it's really a great story in terms of just growing up. Like we have to do this because we have no choice. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
they have no choice and they have to get it done. Hence the maturity and the character development. Like, that's why I love this movie so much. And we'll get into the character development later. But I'm just saying, like, as a movie as a whole, like, it's just very, it's very on the surface. But it's very like true to life.
Oh, that's why it's so good.
I hate you. Sue Ellen, start getting updated reports from the department heads and coordinating them. You can access the format on the C drive. Until you lay it out on the spreadsheet, the market analysis is too amorphous, right? This is the QED report. I've made some notes in it. See if you can make a dent after lunch. Oh, and fax this to New York for me. Don't feel overwhelmed. Just do one thing at a time.
I always put myself in her place and try to wonder if I could fake all of that stuff, and I'm just like, oh my god.
Yeah, that's a little weird to fake that type of stuff, and I'm sure they pumped it up for movies or whatever, but oftentimes though, man, like just because somebody has this big fancy job thing or whatever, like sometimes they're not really doing anything super crazy.
No.
They're probably just doing accounting or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have had numerous jobs where in the past, and including the one I'm doing now, frequently, you start out not knowing anything.
Right.
And what I would always do is I would go back and I would find something that was previously done.
Right.
And I would try to figure it out, backwards.
Right.
And so like, okay, if this is the conclusion that we came to, how did we reach that conclusion? And you just kind of work it out. But now the problem with that is that you don't have a lot of time to do that, and that can take time. So like if the other girl hadn't come along to do the QED report, she would have been screwed.
Oh, yeah, what would happen? Like, I always wonder, like even her faxing that thing, I'm like, why didn't you just walk over and say, oh, wow, this fax machine's very different from the one I used to use. Can you show me how to use this one? Instead of just putting the paper in and pressing buttons. Like, what do you think is happening here?
And you know what? That would not be totally unbelievable because fax machines can be very different.
Yeah.
You know, some of them go face up,
Yep.
some of them go face down. Some of them you have to put the number in first. Some of them you don't put the number until after you put the paper in. I mean, it just you know, that would be
Some of them you accidentally hit copy and then a million papers start getting out.
And you have to catch them all as they're flying in the air.
Yep. Or you walk away and come back and there's just an entire ream of paper on the floor.
And sometimes you just got to play some gangster music, bring it out into a field, and beat it with a baseball bat.
I was talking about that the other day because I heard my boss was in the front of the office the other day, and she's like, "Hey, what are you talking about? There is no paper jam," and I just cracked up. Like, there's no paper. How can it jam?
So she's making what was it, $37,000?
$1,500, which is today $75,000 a year.
Jamie, that's double.
Yep, it's always double in 19...
It's I have 68,000 because you know how I used to do that. So I have 68,000 here, but
that's weird because we were doing it and it was always double in 89.
yeah, but that was also in the
No, I mean like recently we were doing it.
Oh, you guys were doing it too.
Yeah, and it was always in 89. It was double. I guess it maybe in 90 it just isn't. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, because JP, I started doing that when I came on the show, and it was because that's something I do anyway. Like whenever I'm watching movies, I constantly do that, just saying like, really, what would that be now? Oh, you won that one. What would that be now?
I do it too. Yeah,
it's like Marion Crane ran away with $8,000. What's that?
Exactly. That's
exactly. Vital information,
right?
Because like $8,000 seems like stupid to me to risk something like that, you know?
Right.
But,
yeah, it puts things into
carry the one and all of a sudden it's like different story.
Yeah, it's like, oh yes, I would totally do that.
Yeah.
But
that's a great salary for a 17-year-old.
Oh, absolutely.
Really is. Are you kidding me? That would be a great salary for me.
Right?
Yeah.
So we meet Gus now. Gus immediately sends out the creeper vibes, like the way he looks at Sue Ellen, like why instantly he's doing this. Now Gus is 45 years old. Sue Ellen is 19,
17.
but she's playing a 17-year-old. She is 19. And she is pretending to be 27. So if you go with that, Gus is still hitting on a chick who's like 18 years younger than him.
Now, do you guys think that she could pass as 27?
I guess. I mean, some people look...
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, listen, this girl that I worked with when I first started the job I'm at now, I swore... You know, and I was 22 when I started that job. I swore she was my age. She was closer to 40. I thought this dude came in, I thought it was her boyfriend. It was her 17-year-old son.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so weird.
Super young looking.
I mean, nobody ever believes I'm as old as I am. Ever.
Yeah.
You know, like if I'm talking to a customer, I'll say something like, oh, well, I remember that. And they're like, yeah, right. You can't remember that. That was before you were born. And I'm like,
Actually, I was 11.
I'm like, you'd be surprised. And then it's always like, when this one woman, I was starting a new job and she's like, and I guess I said something and she's like, how old are you? And I said 43. And she goes, what the fuck? She's like really loud. And
that's great. You don't really look 43 because, well, think about it. Like Rose is 46 in this movie, and she looks older than you. Like by,
I think so too. I mean, like I look at this, and also the guy. Oh shoot, you just said his name. What's
Gus.
his name?
Yeah, like you couldn't date Gus. That's weird.
The sounds that dude makes.
I look at him and I think, it's weird because when I was watching this, obviously when I watched it back then and then closer to that time, it seemed I was more in line with Christina Applegate. But I'm watching this now and
we're those people now.
Gus is a guy that I could date.
Right.
And he seems
Please don't.
No.
Please don't.
But he seems so like just old and gross, and it's not like I'm saying his age is old because clearly it's not. It's in line with me, But then I look at Rose and I think, God, she feels older than me too.
Right. It's really strange. By the way, you're the only woman that Gus wants to hear music with, Jamie, just so you know.
I feel like every creepy joke Gus made, though, was all worth it. Like, it all paid off just because of that one scene when it shows his face and he hears she's 17.
Yeah. Oh, man.
It's like the quickest look, and it's just so, like, to me, that was the funniest thing. He gets so sketched out.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm Rose Lindsay, Senior Vice President of Operations.
Hi.
And when Beatrice from Personnel calls, she's a really pushy broad. Just tell her I hired you. And find out about your medical benefits and pension plan. Oh, one more thing. And this is so important. Whenever we're not alone or I'm on the phone and I ask you something, doesn't matter what it is, you always say, I'm right on top of that, Rose. Okay? Okay. Welcome aboard, sweetie. Thank you.
They take the kids to like a Chuck E. Cheese type place, talk about how this is all going to go down, how much money she's making and all that. And meanwhile, drag queens are outside stealing Mrs. Sturak's car.
What do they call them? Somebody said...
Liza
Queen,
Minnelli?
He says, Liza, because Liza was driving. But he's like, what are you queens doing?
I don't get it. What does it mean Liza was driving?
Liza Minnelli. The drag queen that was driving was dressed like Liza Minnelli. It was like a Liza Minnelli impersonator.
I don't know who she is or what she does, but she's famous for something. I don't know.
That was one of
She
those...
is Judy Garland's daughter, for one. And she's a singer.
Oh, a singer, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never heard of a song from Liza Minnelli, but...
That was one of the things that... You know when you're a kid and you watch something and you like never understand it? That was one of those things forever that I didn't understand. And the cucumber thing. I didn't understand that either. What does she mean?
You do now, though, right?
Under 25, over 25 has a cucumber in their house.
Why don't you go on home and have a glass of wine and put some cucumber slices on your eyes? You'll feel much better.
Well, I'm all out of cucumbers.
Well, Sue Ellen, every girl over 25 should have a cucumber in their house.
I didn't know if that was like a masturbation joke. It might have been.
Oh, really? Because I thought it just meant like everybody does the eye cucumber thing.
Right. Yeah.
Really? That's a masturbation joke.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You know what? That's what I got from
Jamie.
Well, she could have been saying every woman over 25 has bags under her eyes, so she has to do this.
Yeah, she could
That's
have.
what I thought.
I think it was like a double entendre.
Right, me too. That's what
I think it was actually.
Yeah, because she does kind of say it like.
Oh, Sue Ellen. Every woman over 25 should have a cucumber in the house.
Well, one thing though, like and not that it like took me out of the movie or whatever, but I did ask, like, why drag queens? It's kind of odd, right? And he says that line, and it's kind of funny or whatever. But I didn't really understand why they had to like that. That seems like it would happen more in Adventures in Babysitting than this movie.
Yeah, I mean, they could easily have just walked outside and the car could have been gone.
Totally.
Yeah, I think they wanted to add some humor to the scene instead of just having like evil-looking middle-aged guys stealing your car. Like, let's have drag queens stealing. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Swell calls the clown dog Bozo to pick them up. And it's one of those technicality things. How would she have his phone number? Did she call information, just get the number to Clown Dog, and he was there? God only knows. But
she probably had the number to Clown Dog, though, right?
That's what I was thinking. She called Clown Dog because he clearly was coming from work.
Right.
But I think he just drives that thing. I don't think he has a normal car.
I was going to say,
the uniform
not coming from work.
Does he ever not work? I mean, have we ever seen him in anything besides
well,
like?
Because he closed with her. He closed with her that one night, and then clearly he works the lunch shift because he takes lunch to his sister.
Is this guy there 24 hours a day?
Oh, and by the way, does his sister there eat Clown Dog every day? Like, really?
She eats Clown Dogs every day.
Right?
I would. Yeah, I could go for a chili dog every day. Really.
Oh, that chili looked.
Dude, they make that chili look so gross. I don't even like chili, but they make it look really gross.
I agree.
And they make her scrubbing the things gross too. Like really.
I just gagged. Yeah.
Ugh. It was really.
And then
Oh
she,
man,
like,
it was
takes her hand out of
that
thing,
flashed
grabs
back
it.
to my dishwashing days.
Oh God.
the Coney, which was actually my third job that I got rid of. But because it was a Coney, which is like chili dogs, and I'd have to clean out the chili vats and the cheese vats, and it was so nasty.
Yeah, well, I guess the food's good. I mean, well, here's a weird thing. Like, Brian's like, the kids are screaming because there's like a snowball, which is like, I don't know if anybody knows this. It's like a cupcake with a marshmallow coating and coconut on it. I know.
I used to love those when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that was in the house. They said there's nothing in that house to eat, so they're screaming and things are breaking. So he gives her leftover clown dog food from deliveries. Like, what does that mean? Like, some people didn't answer their door when you were delivering the food?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, what does that mean, leftover food? Like, that's a thing. Like, oh, every night we just have... The only way that would work is if there was leftover that you didn't sell when you were actually at the place. Then you give that away to employees, but it wouldn't be sitting in the truck.
Like, we would have people who would order carryout and not come pick it up. Mm-hmm. That happens all the time. But
not
delivery. I mean, that's so bizarre. And he had 2 big bags of it.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like Dunkin' Donuts especially, like how many times do they throw those out or just take them home or whatever? So if he was getting off of work, then, right? Do you know what I'm saying?
I had this friend, when I was in high school, my best friend worked at Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
And she one time brought home 2 huge garbage bags.
Yes.
I mean, like those industrial garbage bags
Yep.
full of donuts.
Yep.
And her boyfriend made her do it. He was like,
And
bring
you
them
got
all
like
home.
you got like 1 hour to eat them.
But well, see, that's the thing is she brought home all these donuts for her boyfriend, and he was eating them, but they don't last that long.
Right.
You know, they're
That's
just
why
so
they're
bad.
throwing them away.
So he
At least they're already in garbage bags.
he kept eating them, and like a week later, he's still eating out of this garbage bag of donuts. And I'm like, you're being really disgusting right now. And then I was sitting there, and he ate one. It was like a blueberry thing, and he's like, and then he spat it out, and he's like, okay, you got to get rid of these. That was rotten.
Okay. Yeah, he was like, wait, that wasn't blueberry.
Oh, that was mold.
But I was like, I understand bringing home some donuts, but
Right.
2 huge garbage bags? Really? Who's going to eat that?
Yeah, just because you can eat 50 donuts doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, right.
That's really weird. So Brian asks her on a date, which is ballsy. But she says yes. She wakes up at 5:30 in the morning now, and it's like, yeah, welcome to my summer swell. That's what I did also.
What did you guys think about that date though? On the beach, like when he's talking about making a decision and then having to follow through with it. Like I think that was pretty cool. Like they didn't dive too much into it in terms of overall arcs of the movie or anything. But I like that little tidbit that he gave. But I also couldn't get past the fact that, like, I don't know if anybody's ever been to a beach before, but you can't drive your trucks on the sand like that, especially that clown dog truck. That thing would have got stuck. Did anybody notice this? That thing is right on the beach, dude. There's no way you're getting that off.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, that is weird. I didn't realize that, but
I didn't realize it either until rewatch. Yeah.
But Swell learns that Brian is the brother of the receptionist. Small world, huh? I mean, that's one of those things where it's like, okay, this is really...
But you know what? You think that, but how often has something like that happened to you?
Right.
Where
Totally.
like, it actually is more common than you think. Like, I, for example, work with somebody who I found out is, went to school with my whatever, it happens more often than not. It actually, I'm trying to think of an example because there was something like this that just happened. I can't remember right now.
Yeah.
But it actually does happen.
Oh, yeah.
And while that is common, though, what isn't common is having the name Sue Ellen, and that's my biggest problem with that.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
You
when
see what
she's
I'm
in the
saying?
hall.
I hate that they don't bring it up. Like,
Yeah,
he's
me
not like,
too.
hey, I'm dating a girl named Sue Ellen,
Yeah. She's like, can I help you, Sue
Oh,
Ellen?
that's her name. You know?
Yeah, how weird. The girl I'm talking about is named Swellen. Really? What does she look like? Well, she has blonde hair.
I literally know 0 Sue Ellens.
I don't know any.
Like,
No.
I don't think
I know
I've
this
ever
one
knew
and-
one, heard one, or like I don't think anybody in another movie is
they
named
even
Sue Ellen.
exist out of the
Sue Ellen Ewing from Dallas is the only other Sue Ellen I know.
Dallas.
There's Jamie's one quota Dallas drop. Yeah.
Yeah, she always mentions Dallas.
I do not. Do I really?
Enough.
Oh my God, I'm old.
That or the Glow Girls or whatever it's called.
Yeah, the farmer's daughter. So we meet the chick from He Ain't Much, But He's Mine episode of Married with Children with the strange voice. I mean, that voice is wild, man. So she's a secretary for the sales department, and Swell gives her the QED report, and she thanks her. She's like, "Oh, thank you." Like, if somebody handed you that, would you be thanking them, or would you be saying, "Well, it's not really my job, Swell, but yeah, thanks anyway."
Yeah. I actually know people like that though that do enjoy certain, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not that person. But yeah, I do know people. But here's my biggest problem with that whole thing though. Sorry, we're skipping ahead a little bit, but when she comes back to bring those QED reports, right? Okay, so the setup of that office, her office is right there on the right, I believe it is, right? The little mousy chick's right there,
yeah.
Right? You can't tell me that she doesn't know that chick's a bitch. Like,
I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking the same thing. You know, everyone in that office knows how she is.
Right.
Right. Like, yeah.
And she knew for a fact that she was up for that position because she also put in her application.
But it wasn't good enough.
Yep.
So she knew that she had to know she had it, that Carolyn had it in for Sue Ellen.
Well, she is gullible enough to do all Sue Ellen's work, so.
No, that's
yeah, maybe she's just super gullible.
I do wish at the end Sue Ellen had said, no, thank you, but who really would be good at that job?
Right.
She should.
Kimmy Roberts, dude. That's the one missing link.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. That would have added a lot too. But that was always the vibe that I got from it too, where even though Sue Ellen was new to this job, she was kind of trying to kiss her ass and try and put herself in a position, in like a better position by doing those reports. Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
You think so?
Yeah, I really do, because I think that she was just probably a nice person, and she would never even be considered to even handle something like that. So the fact that they could kind of let her into that circle, right? Yeah.
Meanwhile, it wasn't trust; it was desperation.
Totally.
But she doesn't know that.
Yep.
Hello?
Hi, how's it going?
What do you mean?
How are you? Are the kids okay?
No, I smeared them with honey and I tied them to a red anthill. Did you get some money?
Hey, who are you? Where's that other broad, Mona?
Not yet. There's a problem.
Why? What'd they do? Fire you?
I'm Sue Ellen. I work for Rose. Can I help you?
Yeah, I need a copy of the Bob's Big Boy account figures.
Swell, what are you gonna do? This clown dog shit's gone, man.
Look, what do you want me to do? We have a receding profit margin.
Yo, Gidget, could you get on it?
I can't right now. I'm on an important phone call.
Swell, if you didn't get the money, then why the hell did you call?
Hey, look, I don't have all day.
Kenny, hold on. What is your name and what do you do here?
I'm Bruce. I'm head inventory clerk. Why?
Well, Bruce, I'm the executive level administrative assistant. And when I get those figures ready, I'll give you a buzz and you can run on up here and fetch them, all right?
Yeah, sure. Sorry.
It's okay. Look, I just called to say hi.
Aren't you busy at your career?
I'm in between important meetings. I'm so sorry I disturbed you, Kenny.
Well, you did. We're busy.
Fine, screw you.
Up yours!
Oh, bitch. Such a punk.
What?
So I was really proud of how Swellen totally put X-Files dude in his place, man. Like, he comes in there, and he's like, hey, sweetie, blah, blah, come on, where's my... And it's like, asswipe, do you see that I'm on the phone? Like, you don't know who... I could be talking to the president of,
the company.
Yeah, right. Like, you don't know who I'm talking to. And you're sitting here telling me to hurry it up. And she's like, what is your name and what do you do here? Like, I love that she did that to him. And then he does that thing with his neck, and then he cracks his neck, and then he...
Well, And to me, okay, so there's two different ways you can go with this. To me, that was just like typical, like how quickly people settle into their jobs, right? Because that's how I kind of feel too. Like you're very like kind of like Sue Ellen going up to the other girl and she's rude to her. She kind of did the same thing to him, meaning like that's how quickly she settled in and she feels comfortable or whatever. But the same thing kind of happened, which it was funnier when Kenny did it, when she comes home and he's like, I've been cooking all day.
Yeah,
like,
dude, I love that scene. It feels so genuine. Like it doesn't even feel like it's like he's like, it's not a joke to them. Like they never even look at each other like, oh, like, you know, it's just like, he's like so serious.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. See, I took it differently. That's a good way to see it. But the way I saw it was that shows you how truly badass that she is, because there's no aiming to please mode on this chick or nothing like, oh, well, I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, when are you supposed to? Okay. I'll get them done. You know, like, Kenny, I gotta go. Like she is not like that. She's like badass right off the bat. And just whoever she is was there when she had to interact with this guy, no matter how he was, even though she's new, she didn't have that like new guy.
She literally does like a new guy / like prison technique where if somebody even starts to give you shit,
right,
who's the bitch now?
Yeah, you just straight shut them down immediately, and then nobody's gonna mess with you anymore.
Yep, she does it.
I straight up hate it when people try to talk to me if I'm on the phone though.
Oh,
and
my
like
God,
I've got this one chick that I work with, and I'll be on the phone with a client, and I swear to God, she comes in and she just starts running. And I guess she assumes that because my mouth isn't moving at that particular moment, then I must not be doing anything important. But yeah, that's the moment when I'm actually doing the most important thing, which is listening. You know, so not talk to me while I'm trying to listen to a client, because then I have to make them repeat themselves, and I look like an idiot. Get out of here. Like I just. Why do people do that? Like,
it happens to me all the time at my job too.
Wow.
Where like people come down to the desk and I'll be on the phone with somebody and they'll be like, hey, and I'll be like, and I'll put the person on hold, and it's just a mess. It gets messy sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, you know, speaking of Kenny earlier, like you just said, how funny is it that this guy has like one tattoo? It's like the Rolling Stones thing on his shoulder. Because like with a guy like him, you expect either like a lot of them or none yet or whatever. But he has this one strange tattoo on his arm, and it popped up, I guess, around this time. So turns out the X-Files dude is really close with Caroline, or I don't know if they're dating or whatever. The receptionist chick. They're just close for some reason. Swellen learns about petty cash, and I love that whole thing where she slams it down and that echo of the box closing. Then she just stares, then she just opens it again and goes right for it.
And that reminds me, and when that plays, Alex, I also want to talk about really quick the soundtrack to this movie. Right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I absolutely love it. The music that they play is so perfect from beginning to end, from like literally opening credits to end credits. I think every music selection is so on point.
How about the score too? Like that, like that weird high note thing that they play a lot when she's like doing the office stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
They do that a lot in the 80s, 90s. Yeah. Yep.
It really fits this movie and gives it a tone that it needed. Really great. So real quick, I know we talked about the QED report. So petty cash, basically that's an accessible store of money kept by an organization for expenditures for small items and things like that. So
we have it.
Yeah, there really is a petty cash. Yeah.
Yeah, I have it in my job. It's not like that, but you know.
Yeah, when she opened that up and there were just like 50s in there, I'm like, oh my God, that cash isn't all that petty, is it? Because I've never worked
$3,000 petty.
I've never worked with petty cash that was that, you know.
Yeah, they roughly have over $5,000 in there for today's money. Like $5,000 for petty cash? Like why would you I guess just think about it, like this. She was supposed to book that hall and stuff, so I guess you could actually use that amount.
I know, like a lot of businesses, sometimes they'll get lunch catered. Sometimes stuff like that, you know. So stuff could come up.
Yeah, but I mean that's
It's still excessive.
$100.
I agree. I agree. No,
She also mentioned, that she's allowed to cash personal checks for employees because everyone can't always get to the bank.
Yeah, that was weird though. Like, I want to do that.
I expected that to somehow come back and bite her, but that never comes up again. Yeah. So I thought, well, that was an odd thing to say. That is, if it never means anything, but.
Well, so that now their date happens, but we already talked about that. So then we get on to the legendary scene of the doing the dishes, man.
I love that.
Now he's using a BB gun, but you hear like shotgun sounds, and the way the plates break is as if a shotgun shot.
Yeah, there's no way a BB gun's doing that.
So that's kind of weird.
I gotta go. And I don't want your friends hanging around my house.
Right.
Mow the lawn today, and don't forget to do the dishes, okay? Bye.
I'll do the dishes.
Dishes are done, man. Cleans them down to the shop.
And if you just dropped a dead lady off, I don't know if I'd be on the roof shooting a gun. Just kind of draw unnecessary attention to yourself.
I guess it depends where you live.
True.
Too.
Yeah, you
like to hear that, nobody would notice.
Oh, Dan, you mean like driving around in her car afterwards? Yeah, that's probably a real bad idea. I think those drag queens stealing the car was the best thing that could have happened to them.
You know what? You're right.
Drag queens are going down for murder.
They are. Because eventually someone's going to be looking for the owner. Then they're going to have pictures of her somewhere. Then they're going to put it together. Those mortuary guys would have had to go to the police. Like, it's very ridiculous that they just took her in and buried her,
and kept the money.
Right.
And, because they could have used the money to pay for the burial. Who is their boss?
I guess that's their motive for not letting anybody know.
What mortuary has guys who they do everything where they, including carving the tombstone?
and then don't you think the tombstone guy they brought it to or asked for that to be done? They would have said, guys, you have to know who you're. What do you mean, nice old lady? Did you go to the police? Did you get her fingerprint? Like, I don't understand.
Hey guys, some people just have a strange idea of entertainment.
Do they think I'm a fart head?
Yes. So Gus takes Swell to lunch. Now this is like the creepiest stuff ever. So she, to him is 25 to 27 years old, and he's talking about.
Do people always tell you how young you look?
No, not usually.
I'd ask how old you are, but most women don't really like that.
No, we don't.
It baffles me. A woman gets older, she matures, she ripens, juices start flowing. What's to hide?
The juices start flowing.
That was the line right there.
Oh, that's so disgusting.
So creepy.
Oh my God, it was just disgusting. Then he says,
"What's the special occasion?"
It's our first lunch together.
Oh.
This will give us a chance to break down some of those corporate barriers.
Right.
And by the end of lunch, we'll probably be sharing our intimate histories, stories of our first time. Next thing you know, we'll be sharing a cigarette in post-coital bliss.
Are you talking about us having sex?
Hey, hold on, slow down. You're moving too fast for me. But if that scenario interests you, it can be arranged. And if it doesn't, I was kidding. Rosemary chicken's delicious here. Very tender.
And he talks fast, and it's just like he sneaks these, and you're like, what, bro? Like,
well, if you don't like it, he's just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. He's like that typical dude who can like just reverse anything he says. I'm just kidding. Oh,
and it's like you're saying this stuff though to her, and it's like, how do you? And it's almost as if he thinks. Like, he has game like that. Like, this is just how it goes. Like,
doesn't it make you feel like Rose is, like, really, really either dumb or just, like, what do you see in this dude? Because clearly this stuff probably worked on her,
Mm-hmm. It kind of breaks my heart because I don't feel like Rose should be that desperate. I think she's pretty and she's successful. She's smart.
Yeah, but she's also 46, though.
She's strong.
And single.
Hey!
No, single. You're married.
I'm not single, but,
Imagine, you're almost 50 years old and you're single. Yeah, you have to pretty much just take a normal guy if you could.
No. There are plenty of people in my age bracket that would gladly hang out with this chick because she probably makes some pretty good money.
Oh, well, that's not depressing at all.
Yeah. Is that a good thing?
Your mama.
I'm just saying.
A 35-year-old is going to date me because I'm a MILF of sorts?
I guess, though, the thing is, a lot of times, particularly around this time, when women were still trying to make it in high positions like this. This was still kind of roughly early on.
Oh, yeah.
Shortly after, like, the baby boom. She probably worked a lot of hours. She probably never had no social life where she could actually have the opportunity to go out and meet people. So meeting someone at work is about as good as it's going to get.
Right, and Gus makes money. He could take her to...
Yeah, so I think that that's probably how she ended up with him, just because he was convenient.
Yeah.
And that's how it started, was because he was convenient. She knew him from work, and then I don't know how she could spend any time with this guy, though.
I think I could totally see her laughing at those lines, though.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't see her taking him seriously at all. And then I don't see her expecting him to be loyal.
Well, they talk about that.
They'd say they're not exclusive, and he was actually telling the truth when he told Sue Ellen that at lunch. So,
yeah.
Like she said, it's just him not willing to commit. So they're still having sex and doing whatever, but he's still dating other people, and that's fine to her. So
how though? He's such a creep. How is he dating anyone?
Well, he's trying to date other people, probably.
It always seems like there's one of the party, does it like. It doesn't work for it. Deep down, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because there's always one person catching feelings,
Yep, exactly.
More feelings, yeah.
So cucumber thing comes up. We talked about that. So she goes on a date with this dude, the bozo at the clown place, and they're at Toys R Us, I guess, and they're like bouncing on these balls. I remember that in the commercial. That was like a big part.
I thought that was like a nice contrast, On one side, she's like growing up super fast, like at a fast rate, doing this corporate job and this big thing, and then this kid is like a kid still. So it's like like he's acting like a kid, like literally as kid as you can get. You're never too old to bounce type thing, and it's interesting that she's living that sort of life and that double life, and that kind of. Highlights.
It's definitely different. I don't think like Cobra would do something like that.
I hate those pants that she's wearing in that scene, man.
Oh yes, yeah. I was gonna actually say that, but yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
Were those the like the high-waisted pants with the wide belt?
Yeah.
Yes. I think they were green.
I had those pants.
I feel like everybody probably did back then.
Yeah.
I had those pants. No, I'm just kidding. So now conflict begins between Sue Ellen and Brian right away because she won't tell Brian where she works. Now, he was a tad annoying with this, but I guess, I don't know. I think she should have lied.
I think he was just like, I really hope she's not a stripper. I think that's what was going on in the back of his head. He's like, I need to find this out.
I agree.
Now she got all this money now. What's going on? She was struggling a second ago.
Is she a call girl? Like, what's going on here?
I think that's kind of what he was getting at a little bit. I don't know if it was intentional or I just read it that way.
Well, he made it seem like he wanted to know because he wanted to know if she's seeing someone else. Because she won't tell him, so he figures...
Hooker sees someone else.
Yeah, that's kind of
regularly.
That's kind of the definition of their job. They see lots of someone else's.
Yeah, I see other people. It's funny when he's doing this scene too. You can see a moth fly past his face. if you watch that again.
I just noticed that the grass didn't need mowed.
Yeah, Dan was like, I would love to do landscaping on that house. I'd be done in 12 minutes. Get paid for this.
Estimated time 12 to 14 minutes.
So he goes, I'm out of here, and he's basically dumping her because she won't tell him where she works, and she doesn't want to meet his sister, and all this other stuff.
I don't know why she wouldn't just make something up. Just make something up. It doesn't.
Yeah,
have
like
to be...
I'm working as a janitor in this office building.
I'm a receptionist in this office down at whatever floor. Just name a different company that's in that building.
But and you know what? Just say like my boss is really weird about people coming in to the. I don't know. Lie. It does. Because he's like, just let me pick you up at work. Well, I'm just.
I literally do that all the time. I see shady dudes that I used to know in my past who are like gone. You know what I mean? And they're like, "Where are you working at?" And I'll be like, "Oh, at this hotel in Uniontown."
Right. Yeah, I don't tell
town
them.
over.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally do that all the time. If I don't want somebody knowing where I work.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna just be like, no, not telling you. I just make something up.
Kenny gets obsessed with this Julia cooking show and with these waffles. So that's pretty funny. Like his little side story here, I guess.
Kenny's the best, man.
He is the man. Yeah, he's like the best character in this movie.
He is seriously one of my favorite characters in this movie. I love him so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's great.
It's funny because this scene now, the kids all steal money from Sue Ellen, and later on she says, "You would never steal from Mom." Meanwhile, in the opening scene, he did.
That's what we saw them do.
What? Yeah, was that a mess up in the script, or was that like intentional? I don't know what they'd be saying there.
I don't know. I don't know why that line had to be, and why do both things? I don't get it.
Right.
The scene of her sitting in rush hour traffic in a Volvo, looking at the kids her age going to the beach, that always like resonated with me so much.
Was it on Labor Day weekend?
Yeah, it never moved. No, like what they were trying to convey in that scene.
Right.
Like the look on her
I
face.
gotcha.
Yeah.
No, that's the worst, man.
That's
if you
me
ever have
every
to do
day of my
something-
life
Yeah,
that I have to go to work and I see people doing other things, It's like, God, I would love to be doing other things.
Other things are the best things.
Yeah, right.
Anything other than my life would be great right now.
It would be a best thing.
Yeah.
Is Gus a retard? Seriously, like he orders flowers, sends them to Sewellen's desk.
Dude, I hate him so much. I swear.
With a note on it.
It's Gus a retard.
I just roll my eyes at everything he does. I'm just, oh, dude, like, you need someone, like, do you not have a friend, like a good solid friend to sit you down and be like, dude, what are you doing?
What are you thinking?
Yeah, like, you gotta cut this out, man.
How stupid is this guy? Like, okay, let's just say you do have an open relationship. You think Rose would be okay with choosing to date her new assistant who is 20 years younger than her?
Dumbest thing ever. Right.
I just don't even get what's happening here.
Especially when you're gonna show like it's not like a hookup, it's like affection. Like I'm sending roses, right?
Yeah, roses?
Her name's not even Rose.
Right. If you have an open relationship, you don't do it in front of the person. You date people that they don't know. I don't know. It is just the strangest thing. Jamie, have you ever had a 48-hour orgasm?
I was trying to think about that when I was watching the movie, and she said that, and I'm like, God, have I ever? No, I haven't.
Who said that? Well, wait, if you have to think about it, does that imply that you've had something even close to that?
27 hours? Or?
Because I don't think anything less is necessarily that bad, Jamie.
Yeah, no. No.
Now, Walter orders a home entertainment system. And all the stuff on these shelves of this thing is crap. Like, you only need...
It's crap.
You only need, like, 4 of those... Whatever those devices are, you couldn't need 12 of them. What could you do in front of that TV, do you think? Besides play music,
They really
and for him
got
to
one
have
over
spent
on
as
that
much
kid.
money as they did, because for him to have spent as much money as he did, that's a tiny TV,
right?
You know,
Right.
I mean, we did have bigger TVs back then. I mean, it was an option.
That was my first thing. Like, I'm not like big into like tech stuff or whatever, but I'm like, for the 90s, I'm like, that's top of the line. I'm like, that looks like shit.
It does. And don't you think after setting this whole thing up, they would at least turn it on and see if it works before they left?
Right?
Like, isn't that the first thing you do? Turn it on, make sure all the channels are coming in, and it's funny because it's total kid logic how he goes to do this on the roof, because an adult would just go in back and check the connections to the TV. You wouldn't go up on your roof and twist your antenna around. Like, what a kid thing to do. It's so funny. So Walt goes rolling off the roof because Kenny told him to ask Bob Barker to help you. And he's getting high with his friends. What's weird about it, too, later on, when they get back from the hospital, the TV's working fine. They're all watching TV.
It's because he fixed it real quick.
Yeah, he did. He must have.
He probably just didn't have the TV on 3 or something.
Yeah.
And it was like,
But if nobody's down there, is the picture coming in? You know what I mean? Like, how would he just like keep running back up and forth?
Right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. But it's great in the hospital. It's like, Walt, I'm really sorry, man. I'll get you some ice cream on the way home. And she's like, that doesn't make up for this, Kenny.
Well, I also want to say, too, that that was the turning point for Kenny.
It was genuine, like, worry, which was cool.
it was very cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I even loved before that even happens, when he and his friends are sitting around and his friends are like, in the next batch of waffles, man, you should make it like more
mocha
Swiss mocha amaretto. And he's like, and so, you can see right there that he's becoming domesticated, and like that is becoming a part of who he is. And then immediately, the whole thing happens with his brother, and you just see this change in him.
Right.
And that's when I love Kenny. Like, I fall in love with Kenny because he is so
He's
sweet.
great. I love him. He's one of the biggest draws of the movie. Really. I mean, oddly, we can't, there's not much to explore with him. I mean, we're trying here, but it's weird because he's not that type of character to really like a Gus to try to figure out what he's thinking. We kind of know what Kenny's thinking. So it's like not that kind of discussion with him, but nonetheless, I love Kenny, and he's a major part of this movie that I love.
We know what Gus is thinking too. He's thinking about flowing juices.
Yeah. And ripen. Like, what a gross way to describe women, ripening.
Yeah, he's an man. I just...
Can we stop talking about Gus?
And his name's like Gus. That just sounds...
Gus, right. That's what I'm saying. It's the worst name ever.
You look like a damn Gus.
I mean, no, that's a Gus is like a fat security guard or
Right.
I'm picturing the guy from Halloween too.
Oh,
or
Where'd this come from? Japan. State of the art. Well, yeah, it's really nice, but where'd you get the money for something so state of the art?
Well, it was petty cash money. You were spending petty cash money.
Zach, I bought a pair of boots and a magazine. You bought a home entertainment center?
It's Walter's idea.
Well, it's going back.
We can't take it back. We got it on sale.
It wasn't your money. It was my money.
Oh, well, now it wasn't really your money either. You embezzled it.
I did not embezzle it. I borrowed it. And I was going to put it back after my next paycheck, but we can't afford all this. How could you do this? You would never steal from Mom.
That's because Mom never had that much.
There's only $30 left.
Well, you should see this Zsa Zsa diamond ring he bought for Cynthia.
You bought her a diamond? How much was it, Zach?
It was a chip.
We'll get it back from her.
Diamonds are forever. Hey, and I needed a new bike. And I got Walter the new home edition of Super Password. And Elvis new chew toy.
You have spent over $3,000? You're grounded. You are all grounded. How could you steal from me?
Well, now, they didn't really steal. They borrowed. They were just following your irresponsible example.
Oh, shut up, Kenny.
I am in deep shit.
Quit your job. Get out while you can.
I'm an embezzler. They're gonna throw me in prison.
Nah, the judge will probably go easy on you, considering you're a minor.
I'm not gonna give up. We'll just economize. I'll keep working. I'll work overtime if I have to. A few more paychecks, I'll be able to put it back and no one's gonna know, right? I'm innocent.
Well, Swellen kind of reacts pretty well to the news that the kids in today's money wasted over $5,000 of her petty cash on just crap. All the things they describe is all garbage. Didn't need any of it. So
I would freak. There's no way I would have took that calmly.
Oh God, she's like, okay, I can still get out of this. Still get out? You just got in it. Like, shouldn't you be flipping out over that first?
Well, yeah, she should, because she just said that her paycheck was $700 and change. So it's going to take her quite a while to get out of that.
Right. And that's in 2 weeks, so it's really $350 a week.
Yeah, you literally can't get out of it by the time your mom comes home.
You can't. You can't get out of it. And
well, she does mention overtime, but but she's on salary.
Exactly. So that's what I thought too, is when she mentioned overtime, I'm like, where are you getting overtime? You have a salaried position, so no.
GAW's history. We're all going to be out of a job.
What?
The school board rejected it. You were right, Sue Ellen. The students got wind of it last night and held a huge protest. They burned uniforms in effigy. This was our last hope. We're probably all going to be canned tomorrow.
So they're going to be. They lost a huge contract with the school, I guess. Now.
So is this nurse's uniform supposed to be a school uniform? I'm confused. Who's wearing that?
Yeah, what nurse do you know rocks that?
Right.
That's
Nicole,
not in a
obviously.
porn.
Yeah, right.
Or a music video.
I was going to say, have we ever seen any of these professions wear any of the stuff that they like? A chef is going to dress like that?
Yeah.
Like, what are we looking at? Like, the only person, and
thank you, Katrina. Thank you, Katrina.
Yeah, thank you, Katrina. You can leave now.
That look that she gets.
Oh, that look. Oh, you sent us the picture of her, the look on her face.
That's the greatest
Is that what that
look
was?
ever.
Yeah, that was so amazing. So she wants to mix and match clothing to make it look good. Now, we've seen her do this already when she was trying to figure out how to make any of her mom's clothes look good. So I guess that was a little hint that she's capable of doing this.
I have an idea.
Sue Ellen, this is going to save our collective asses. It's fabulous. Now, I don't want New York to know anything about this because they'd never approve funding. So you'll need to rent a banquet hall. You do have enough in petty cash, right?
Well, Rose, I have to tell you something.
Go ahead, honey.
You know, banquet halls are so impersonal. My house is fabulous. We can have it there. It'll be absolutely perfect. Look, we are a family of felons. Our summer freedom is going to be a winter prison if I don't get some help. Now, I want this place spick and span by Saturday night or I'm turning us all in. Are you with me?
Guys, what do you say?
Yeah.
Yeah? Come on, what do you say?
All right, yeah.
All right, come on, we're with you. Rock and roll!
So we get a nice montage of them fixing up that house. Now, it's funny, like, Melissa playing softball in this movie, because our last episode we did on Married with Children was the big softball episode with Al Bundy.
Yeah.
Doing the Babe Ruth thing. So that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
The timing. We're just staying with softball.
Right.
So they still found time to bring her to softball amongst all this. Kenny goes on this big not being appreciated rant, which is amazing.
Where are the kids?
Zach's and Cynthia's, Melissa's upstairs, and Walter's asleep.
What's wrong with you?
Nothing is wrong with me.
Did you burn something?
Yeah, well, maybe if you'd called and told me we were going to be like 3.5 hours late, I could have planned my dinner better.
I had to work late, okay?
You still should have called. I sat and I waited. I went ahead and I fed the kids. I worked all day in that casserole.
Sorry.
You haven't even said how nice the house looks. You're off at the office all day doing interesting office things. I'm stuck here cooking and cleaning and mowing, helping Melissa with her fastball, being a role model for Zach, spending quality time with Walter, doing your party shit. You've got the car and you don't even take me anywhere anymore. And when was the last time we went out to dinner together, huh? You know what? I'm sick and tired of not being appreciated.
I appreciate you.
Eat shit.
Well, I just love how quickly it happened. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I've noticed that with people, like, they'll start, like, you know, either a new job or they will do something, and yeah, they get like all pissy, and it's like they just started doing it. Like that's what struck me the most was like.
Yeah. Well, also you gotta keep in mind though, like how, like this whole movie spread out into like 7 weeks.
Right.
So like I don't.
Right.
I assume he was probably doing it for a couple, you know, maybe a week by that point or whatever. It's still not long, you know what I mean? But
You have a car. You don't even take me anywhere anymore.
that's the best. That was the best part. 'Cause
Well, when's the last time we went out to dinner together?
Yeah, when do they go to dinner? What the hell are they talking about?
like the Chuck E. Cheese place, man.
Oh, right. Yeah, I guess that is.
You don't even take me anywhere.
You don't even take me anywhere. That's so great.
Oh, I love it.
So then she does another Married with Children nod and says that she misses Oprah every day.
I don't believe this. I get to get up at 5:30 every morning so I can beat rush hour traffic and go sit behind a desk for 8 hours and miss Oprah Winfrey every day on my summer vacation.
One weird non-Married with Children nod is that when she says, I have to drive around in a Volvo and no air conditioning and blah, blah. Like, you think they would have said a Dodge.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like, maybe, right? Like, if you're going to do any Married with Children nods, Oprah was a good one. But why not Dodge? If you're going to, like, talk about, like, degrade a car or whatever, you would think they'd go for the obvious one, right?
Mm-hmm. Or even, you know, Christina Applegate be like, hey, why don't you make it a Dodge instead?
And then I get to drive home in gridlock in a Volvo with no air conditioning just so I can take care of you guys and put food on the damn table. It's a rat race and it sucks, Kenny. So what do you want, a medal? Oh, come on. You don't have to do all this. I mean, I never asked you to whisk the couch.
Well, it needed it.
Well, so I never liked this whole thing right now. Like, it's not a major issue for me, but Swellen comes in, and before she fights with Kenny, she puts her purse on the table, and this is on the island thing, and they start arguing. Then later on, you see it cuts right to a scene of these two jerk-offs go in Sue Ellen's office to look for the petty cash because the guy overheard her talking about how it's all gone.
That's bad editing, bro.
And for some reason, her purse is on her desk at work.
Even if you say maybe it was a different night, that doesn't matter.
It still doesn't matter.
It's bad editing.
It's just...
Oh, wow.
It's
I
bad.
never noticed that.
Yeah, like, why would she leave her purse and wallet at work on her... Wouldn't her keys be in there? Like, it's impossible.
Huh.
Yeah, unless you write in the character comes home, shoot, I left my purse at work or something, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, but for it to just randomly be there, that's just a no-go.
That's not...
Wow.
You don't do that.
Yeah.
That's bizarre.
I would probably drive back to work because I probably needed, like, gas in the morning or something.
or maybe, like, Rose asks Swellen if she could borrow something, and she goes in her purse, and you see her ID drop out while she's walking over to Rose's section, and then
they
guy
step on it or something,
and they see it, right?
Yeah,
that would make sense. Just I don't know what that was.
Yeah,
or have that scene take place during the day and see her walk away from her desk to go to a meeting or something.
Yeah. There's so many better ways to do this.
Yeah, because even like the sneaking in after hours thing seems stupid to begin with. Like,
yeah, that's hokey.
Yeah. It reminded me of like Casper, the Friendly Ghost or something. I don't know if you ever seen that movie, but the two bad people.
Yeah.
That's them.
Yeah. Well, it's now, so they figure out she's 17 years old.
Yeah, you know what? This was when I was a kid. I always would shut the movie off at this point, like the party.
Really?
It was just so uninteresting to me when I was younger. I mean, I watched it a bunch of times since then, but like, yeah, I just remember always shutting it off at this point.
Huh. Well, it's the night of the buyer's shindig. Kenny cut his hair, which is horrible to me. I mean, I'm glad he's cleaning his life up, but he had a nice, cool haircut.
It shows commitment, man.
Yeah.
I think he looks nice.
Yeah, I do too. And Sue Ellen's friend thinks he looks nice too.
Yeah, Nicole. Yeah, see how she make that that whole thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of attractive to me.
I love how he's so soft-spoken, too, now, because he's his whole demeanor changes, because when he's talking to his friend, he's like, I have a date with Sue Ellen's friend. Yeah, I mean, it's just, he's so gentle.
Yeah. Nicole, the nurse?
Yeah, man. I'm totally going to bang her. No, I didn't say that.
She just saw his face she gave me.
Oh, God, that face. I wish a girl would look at me like that, man.
I know, that was good acting right there, man.
Well, that and that was obviously the overall, like, growing up, maturing, like, okay, now he could actually, get a girl type of thing. But, like, what I like about this movie, even from the beginning, maybe like 15, 20 minutes in on, but you know how a lot of movies, like, okay, they'll set it up to where they'll do all the character development first, and then they'll present the big problem, and then obviously the third act is solving that problem, right? Mm-hmm. While this movie does that, it also does this thing where it constantly goes back and forth, where they'll present the problem, but then they'll fix it, and they'll present the problem, and then they'll fix it. So it's kind of lighthearted in that sense, where it's not like some big dreary thing happens and the whole thing collapses. Like it could have been that when she was like exposed to Rose even earlier in the movie with the reports or whatever. But like it's just these small little things that and that they're mature enough to where they'll combat that, and it just kind of goes back and forth throughout the whole movie with different characters, like I said, with the boss, with the boyfriend, with them, with the kid falling off the roof and stuff like that. They're constant situations where they're showing maturity building towards the end, obviously, but like I like how it wasn't just like they're completely assholes the whole movie. Something happens and then they get it together and then they're changed for the last 15 minutes and whatever. Like it's just small little things throughout the movie.
Yeah, no, I love that. This is like 100% happy ending too. Like, and you want it to be like you want to see everybody grow and change. I like that.
Yeah. Yep. And I found it interesting that like the whole purpose basically of this character Carolyn and the X-Files guy throughout the movie they want to pull the rug from under Sue Ellen.
Sue Ellen, where have you been? Where's the QED report?
Rose, I tried... Ah, yes, the QED report. I have that for you, Rose.
What are you doing with it? Sue Ellen, what is Carolyn doing with it?
Kathy Henderson brought it by. It seems she's been covering for Sue Ellen, doing her work for her.
You let Kathy do the QED report?
Uh-huh.
I was wondering how you were going to get that and the research for the school presentation done. Bravo, you really know how to delegate responsibility. Carolyn, you want to be executive material? Keep an eye on Sue Ellen. You are a paragon.
She looks at the resume, she feels like it's fake, she finds a driver's license, and it's like their whole arc really means nothing because by the end, when Sue Ellen's mom comes home and then she blows the lid off, then she confesses everything. It's like everything she confessed would have been done anyway, whether or not those two did anything. So
yeah, no,
it's kind of
like
strange.
They're 100% just villain characters, and honestly, like people like that, if they would just focus on themselves,
they'd be so much happier
much further in life.
Oh, that
because they're the type of people that just focus on other people and make it their goal to either get one over on them or just obsessing over someone else. Like just get better at customer service and and you'll probably move up.
Yeah, we'll just be a nicer person to deal with, and you could have had that position.
Yeah,
it's
Rose would have wanted you.
Like
right.
literally, that's one of the main lessons you learn in work environment is nobody wants to work with the person that's annoying, rude. Just that it makes total sense why Rose would just pick some random person because she doesn't want to work with this girl. Like everybody knows people that they don't want to work with,
and that's her.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's great, like the whole culmination of it all when she hands her the.
Excuse me, Rose. What is it, Carolyn? Something?
Since this is the biggest night in GAW history, I thought you might like to know that this all rests in the hands of a child. A child you hired.
This is by far and away the most petty, spiteful, vindictive machination you have ever concocted. Grow up, Carolyn.
God, just imagine.
Grow up.
You think you're doing this amazing slam dunk, game-winning shot, whatever, and she just totally dismisses it. Like, dude, get out of my face. Like, it's all for nothing. And that also meant that she's not going to get, because she wanted to make her lose the job so she can get in, too.
You know what's crazy? This is assuming everything keeps going the way it is. Like, Sue Ellen's going to have this lady as a sister-in-law for, ever.
Yeah.
No, I didn't think of that. Yeah.
It ain't the end of her.
Yeah, that's weird, right?
She's going to be the
that's
one
depressing.
that's constantly in Brian's ear. Is that his name, Brian?
Yeah, Brian.
Yeah.
Brian's ear telling him, how her, lasagna isn't done right and stuff.
Yeah. But that brings us to the okay, are we at the Brian part where he comes rolling up with his truck?
No, we're at Gus offering a sweaty fling with Sue Ellen again.
Oh, Sue Ellen, I was looking for you. Great house. Oh, you look lovely.
Thank you.
No, I know you said you're not interested.
That's right, I'm not.
I understand why. And I want you to know I'm not taking this lightly.
Gus, it's just that I don't think that it's...
No, I know. My timing is off, and I know you're just getting over a divorce. And
Gus, you can't imagine how off your timing is. Forget it.
or we could just have a wild, sweaty fling. What do you think?
Gus, I think the scenario here is that you're a sleazeball.
Hey, I was kidding. I surrender.
He's like, hey.
Yeah, we had the whole
That's a quagmire, man.
I love that whole snap and clap hand thing. That's great.
Roofie colada for the lady.
Like, who wants to think about him sweating, rolling around in bed sheets with you?
Oh,
I don't want to think about him at all.
Right. So Swellen shoots him in the pants with Windex, I guess.
That was a pretty sick squirt gun, by the way.
Yeah. I used to have one like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he is really brain dead because this is what you call quit while you're ahead. Like, you sent those flowers.
Like, dude, you're actually getting rapey at this point.
Oh, totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Totally.
Like, there's a difference between, giving it the old college try and then maybe a little bit after that. But,
Then
once
dipping
you're
into
shut
sexual
down,
harassment.
If you're shut down twice, it is game over, homie. This isn't like 50 first dates and stuff. It's not.
Yeah, she's going to forget.
You know what I think is funny is his attitude is because he's flat out very open about sex, about that. That's what he's talking about. And then his attitude is, well, if you don't like it, then I'm just kidding, because still back then, if you were just kidding, it'd be, it'd be
just
whatever,
kidding. I was just,
But now, can you imagine now? Like,
oh my God, he would never survive in that atmosphere.
He'd either get fired or have to spend the rest of his life in sensitivity training.
Well, I did touch your boob, but you got to understand that I was just kidding.
It's a joke. It's a joke. Come on.
I just assumed that Gus was drinking booze too. That's why it's even more ramped up here.
Yeah, maybe he's
at
drunk.
the party.
Yeah. So he just doesn't stop. Even after she went to the office and is like, Gus, why are you doing this to Rose? He's like, what? Doing what? He still keeps on. So shoots him in the crotch. Rose comes in. She's like, what's going on here?
What's this? What is this?
Just a little accident.
Rose, Gus,
Gus has sort of a little crush on me. He's been coming on to you?
Rose, come on. You know how I feel about you. You're the one I want to listen to beautiful music with. You.
He sent those roses to me.
Well, that's not true, Rose. Rose, believe me.
Okay. We're all adults here, and we have a presentation to get through. Gus, the buyer from Saks is looking for you. Sue Ellen, it's showtime.
Rose handles it pretty maturely.
Oh, yeah. Like, I think she is like, I'm better than this. You know what I mean?
Right. It's beneath me to get into, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this.
By the way, that's such a terrible spot to be in for Sue Ellen. Like, I don't know if that's ever happened to you, where somebody, like one of your friends, you know, significant other, like, is coming on to you, or like, yeah, it's definitely pretty awful. Because you don't want to, like, because you almost feel like they're gonna think you're lying or something if you say,
right,
like they're gonna get like animosity towards you or something. It's like weird.
And thank God when she said he has a little crush on me, like Gus's reaction totally gave it away that, yeah, I'm doing that.
Yeah, you showed no remorse, right?
He is horrible at like lying. He's like, oh, come on.
Yeah. What?
You're gonna trust this? You don't even know this girl.
Yeah, and then like when like Dan said earlier, when it's revealed she's 17 or whatever, and he's like, hey, she was 17. You think I really? You know?
Yeah. You're gonna trust me or some kid? Some kid. Go to hell, Gus.
She should have fired him.
Oh God.
That would have been the icing on top.
Right.
Yeah. So the fashion show begins. It's absolutely ridiculous. As we said, nobody would wear any of this. I mean,
even in the 90s where stuff was like, you know, kind of weird sometimes.
Right. Like, the clothes weren't very good anyway. Like, they were, yes, edgier and stuff, and I guess cooler than some, like, Catholic school outfits, I guess, but I don't know. I just don't see any of this. I've never...
Just no. Even at the time, this was one of those things where...
This is like a rapper's, like...
Yeah.
You know, like,
yeah,
like
music
funny
video
clothes. Yeah. This is like their stage presence clothes.
Yeah, there is a place for these clothes.
Yeah, it's just nowhere near anywhere besides like 1% of the population. It's like under that.
Do you ever watch things as a teenager or, you know, anytime, but they're supposed to be like reflecting people your age. And I think this is particularly during like teenage years, but so you're watching a show and they're the same age as you and they're doing things and it's embarrassing to you. Like it's like, oh my God, like it's kind of cringy.
Right.
I remember when I watched this movie, these clothes were cringy to me. I was like, no, we would never don't do that. You know?
Yeah.
And then the dancing, like Nicole's foot dance she does with that weird shuffle of her feet in the nurse outfit. I was like, what are you doing? And then Katrina with that weird, like, fake running dance or whatever that was.
The Running Man?
The running dance, like how she kept lifting her legs as if she was moving, but she wasn't going anywhere.
That's the Running Man.
That's what it's called. Oh,
yeah.
Thank you, Katrina. Thank you,
She's
Katrina.
like, Jamie's like, you mean the Running Man? He's like, that dance that you do where you like run and you're a man. You mean the Running Man?
I thought Jamie thought I said running man, so I said, no, running dance. That's funny. So, yeah, Brian now does the dumbest thing I've ever seen in the history of movies. He drives through this property completely oblivious to the fact that there are 100 cars parked on the property. There are lights strung out everywhere. There is music blasting.
Plus, he's driving through a yard.
Right,
At one point, I'm pretty sure he's in the yard.
Well, he drove on the beach. I guess this guy just figures I'll just drive everywhere.
Well, so the
he nicknamed that thing the tank, by the way.
Right?
Yeah, sure, Sue Ellen, I'll come pick you up in the tank.
It's amazing, and you hear people talking on microphones. You see these lights, all different colored lights fly. Like, wouldn't you just like glance around, like, what's happening here? No, not only does he not do that, he gets on a loudspeaker and starts like spilling his guts to Sue Ellen. Like, now listen.
Like, what if she wasn't even home?
There's a million things you would ask about this. Number one, if she was home, would this ever be a good idea, even if she wasn't throwing a party?
No, that's like literally when you get like a restraining order. Like this is Gus Con 2. You know what I mean?
Like, why are you talking? Like, what? You don't want to hear her side of this thing, so you're just gonna sit there on your megaphone and you say what you want to say, and that's it? Like, I don't understand this. Do you think she's going to be, like, taking a shower and then look out the window and listen to this? Like, I don't understand what he thinks is happening or what his idea is.
Swell, it's me, it's Brian. Hey, listen, Swell, we gotta talk about this. Forget about this other guy, we can work this out. It was really stupid what happened the other night. I mean, I don't know if it was some kind of communication meltdown or what.
Katrina, our chef, is really cooking in her scarf, and she's whipping up excitement in her boots. Thank you, Katrina. Thank you, Katrina.
I really care about you, Swell. Not us. There's something about you, Swell. I don't even know what it is, but I feel better around you than anyone else. Swell, I really miss you.
And our last model is Becky. Becky is our Boy Scout, and she's wearing a Boy Scout's uniform. Thank you, Becky. Thank you, Becky. Brian? And
why would you do that?
I think most people would probably, hate this scene because this is the point where I think my film punditry in me, it started. Like that, like even as a little kid, I knew something was wrong with the scene.
Oh my
I'm
God.
like, even as a little kid, I'm like, who does that?
And the clown music playing while he's talking?
Right.
Hey, Swell, listen. I'm really, I don't know. Things got out of hand.
That is not the way to get the girl.
No.
Asshole. Park your whatever that is.
Park your whatever.
Asshole.
Walk up to the door, ring the doorbell, and talk to your girl. What are you doing?
Right.
I just don't get it. And it's obviously times 100 by the fact that this guy's doing it during this party. It's so embarrassing.
Yep.
Well, apparently this is a common thing because the mom just walks in and in the middle of her presentation, she's just like, "You're in big trouble, young lady." Like, you don't know what the hell is happening here. You have no idea what's going on.
Like, even put yourself in the mom's position, right? Like, if you walked in and saw that, like, no matter what, like, how mad you are that there's people here or whatever, like, wouldn't you just, like, wait till she was done talking just out of, slight chance that this could be something important? Because it sure looks like
common courtesy. And these are clearly adults. It's not like they're having some kind of
party.
These are adult people, and this is some sort of formal event. I'm not going to just be an asshole about it.
Like, of course you're going to be very curious to what the hell is going on. But, I mean, at the same time, it's not like you said, a party, like teenagers, like all Kenny's friends, like kegs and stuff. You know what I mean?
Mrs. Kringle, Mom's home.
Busted.
And that is our presentation for this evening. Thank you all for coming. Good night. What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm right on top of that, Rose.
No, please, I gotta finish the presentation. I know what you're gonna say. It's not as bad as you think.
Save it.
Oh, shit. Come on, just do it. Swell! You're in big trouble, young lady.
Her first reaction should be, "Oh wow, the pool's up and running."
Yeah.
Right?
And the dirt's mowed.
Exactly.
Yeah, the dirt was mowed.
Exactly. And even when she talks to her right after in the kitchen, like you said, it's clearly not like a bender with kegs or whatever. So they're clearly having to get there.
She should be walking through the house, shaking her head, looking around like, yeah, all right, hype.
Like the countertop is so clean in there.
Oh my God. Yeah, she's like, wow, it is
a-
orange. I remember having an orange countertop.
Totally.
Like, she should be thinking like Mrs. What was the babysitter's name?
Oh yeah, Sturak or something like that?
Yeah, Sturak. Man, she really whipped you guys into shape, like that's what I'd be thinking. And then all of a sudden it would dawn on me like, wow, I'm a very bad parent. Like, I suck at this.
She's the worst.
The worst mother
No, they
in history.
literally ended up better without her.
Literally everybody did.
their lives got better with the absence of the mother.
Oh boy. Yep.
Wasn't that so amazing when she gets off the microphone because she sees this, her mom, and then Rose is like, "What are you doing?" And then she's like, "I'm right on top of that, Rose." Wasn't that the best? I love that they called that back. So yeah, the mom couldn't be cool. Just privately say, "What's happening here?" Like, this and that. She actually does what she does, like you said. So Swellen breaks down and tells everyone everything.
I can't handle this anymore. I applied for a receptionist job. I don't even know what an executive administrative assistant does. I lied to everyone about everything, and I'm sorry. I'm only 17. I have a curfew. I just finished high school. I can't even vote yet. This is supposed to be my summer vacation. I'm not supposed to be a career mom. I can't be the hub of your communication network. I'm really not ready for any of this. I'm sorry. Rose, I'm so sorry. Sorry.
Yep. That was like really sad. Like that always got me choked up to watch that scene. And it's a shame because she's talking as if she's not, like, she's incompetent just because of her age. It's like, no, look at everything you've done. And you literally single-handedly saved the entire company because she said that everybody would be out of jobs once this all went to hell. And Swellen turned it all around. But she let people believe that because of her age that she really shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Well, she also makes a really stupid decision later on when she's like, "No, I think I'm going to go to college." What the fuck for? You go to college to get a good job.
Right.
Here is a good job.
Right, and you're great at it.
And then you're walking into a $37,500 salary a year as a 17-year-old.
Oh.
And if then you get the experience from there. And if you want to move on from somewhere, to somewhere else, you can. Or you know what? If you really do want to go to college, you can do that on the side. But I'm not giving up this job.
No, you can't. I was so sad. College is like one of the biggest scams going. To think that she would voluntarily want to do that instead of, I just don't get it. Especially like this is your boss, they love you, and they already know all the truths, and you skipped all this stuff, and you don't have no student loans, and you're making this much money.
See, we know that now,
right?
And stuff, but I feel like back then it was like the lesson was to go to college. You know what I mean? Like they were.
Well,
teaching,
it was, and
it was like valuable.
Well, you know who's going to bust their butt? The people at the car wash of the two jerk-offs. Like, how did the dirtbag crew know to shaving cream and TP this guy's car and no one else?
They were sitting there when they came in.
You didn't see them roll up?
No, I did, but even then, they knew to treat them like garbage. They were like,
yes,
right,
like right away. I'm like, how do you know
breath?
That? Hey, but yeah, park it yourself.
What kind of insult is that? What does that even mean?
I don't really get what that means. Yeah,
I don't know what that means.
I don't know either. It's so stupid. No, but okay. So here's one of my my favorite things in movies that I don't think too many people talk about is when situations like this happen. When like the stoners meet the assholes. Like you get the side characters and they rub elbows. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like it's one of my favorite things ever, and I really noticed it in this because of like it was just so like it was so funny how like you said like they just knew they were assholes. Like I think they just sensed it in them. But yeah. But yeah, I always thought that was like a trope, I guess you would call it, that not too many people talk about, that I think is completely underrated. And there are certain movies that really get it right. Minus the Metallica breath line. I thought that they did it perfectly here.
Well, I do think that's funny because it's so dumb and bad, and it's just, to me, it's just a pothead who all he thinks about is music or whatever, and he just being an idiot. And that, like, to me, that would really... it's came off authentic, as stupid as it is, believe it or not.
Yeah, like I mean, like think about all the like dumb combinations of words like somebody accidentally says or something. like especially when high, it's like yeah. I mean, I can see that coming out.
Get it yourself, Metallica breath. I might want to start using that. No, just kidding. So it turns out the fashion show was a huge success despite the scene at the end.
Rose, I am so sorry.
Sue Ellen, the buyers didn't care anything about that scene. They're all just a bunch of old whores. They loved your ideas. They see nothing but dollar signs. As a matter of fact, they complimented me on hiring a teenager to gain market perspective. So I've got 7 meetings set up next week alone. They want the new GAW line.
But what about everything else? I mean, I lied to you. A terrible person.
Well, I suppose you'll grow out of that.
Maybe.
Dude, that was a superior party. Superior eats. Yeah. Thanks for helping out. No problem. Hey, what do you say, beer bus tomorrow night, huh? I can't. I got a date with Swell's friend, Nicole. The nurse? Yeah. Hot. Hey, you know school starts next week. Lazy days. I don't know. I was thinking I might go to class more. Why? It's time to do something.
I love that scene. That's one of my favorite scenes in this movie because, like, it not only shows that he's, you know, obviously progressed as a person. Like he obviously got interested in the cooking stuff, and he's like, I think I'm gonna actually start going more.
But Sue Ellen inspired him to do something with his life.
Yeah, and the coolest thing is that he's willing to share that with somebody who he would probably be, you know, feel peer pressured to keep acting like that. And it really shows you separate yourself and take your own life by the horns and you know, put your foot down. Like, this is what I'm going to do. I don't really care if anybody judges me for it. Because you know how that is with the clicks, you know, and the stuff like that. Like, a lot of people just don't want to go against the grain when that's their friends. That's what they're doing. It's so easy to just skip school when all your friends, like your you know, your closest friends are doing it. They all act like that, you know. And I really like that. And it showed that he's capable of being a leader too, because his other friend even was like, yeah, or something, you know, like
he was like, well, that might be cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Yeah. He was like a leader in a sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, regardless of what he ended up doing, whether it being a pothead or whatever. But no, JP, you're right though. They say that, you know, basically, that's predicated upon like how your parents feel. Like people are so worried about how either their parents feel or their friends, and that's how they make their judgment in life, which is really messed up if you think about it, because if everybody's doing that, then you got a whole bunch of people just playing it safe, worried about what other people think and basing their life decisions on that, which is crazy if you break it down. But yeah, and that's what I got from that as well, and that's why I like this movie too. Yeah,
it was amazing. Every scene really resonated.
Please, Rika.
They added one final touch, like they hug, you think, well, that was a great time and great people interacted and they really clicked. but it's all over now, so I guess that's the end. We'll never see Rose again. And they, thank God, put in Rose, inviting her Monday night for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
How great is that? So, like, as we leave the movie, like JP said, if everything continued to exist, if everything continues here, they will be friends.
And she'll be a mentor.
Right.
Which is hugely important to get somebody, who can mentor you, somebody that you respect and is older usually. I doubt the mom's going to be that,
No, definitely not.
Worst mom. And her mom was probably just mad because she realized that Sue Ellen's a better mother than she ever was, That's what she was all pissed about.
Exactly.
And that's why I'm glad that Sue Ellen talks to her like a child, says, just go to your room.
Yeah, that's nice.
Complete role reversal, man.
Oh, I love it. Perfect for her, man. She deserves that. So then she talks to Brian, who at this point I can't stand this guy. After that last scene, I'm just like, okay, but
okay.
Yeah, he comes off sort of okay. He forgives her, I guess. They kiss. And so I guess his life turned out well. I don't know why or how he deserved that.
How he deserved it.
He's going on to be an oceanographer.
Yeah, good.
Good.
The very last line, great punch joke at the very end. The mom says, Sue Ellen, even though she should be in her room by now, but she comes back downstairs and says, Sue Ellen, where's the babysitter? And then the music kicks and her face, the wide-eyed look. Then as the credits roll, we see those two strange guys who just work there bury this lady with no it's very informal, but they just bury her and put a tombstone there that says old lady.
Nice old lady inside died of natural causes.
And that's okay. And that's where they talk about how she had money on her and they got the money.
Yep.
What would you have said to the mom when she asked that question?
I would have said that she just left. She never came back.
She took the money and bounced.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think that's the best thing to say, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's so when they released this movie on video, there was a contest where the participants would answer a number of questions about this movie, like trivia, and rate like a few actors' performances, and the winner would win the babysitter's car that was stolen by the drag queen.
Oh, really?
Wow. The Buick?
Yeah.
I can't see that old lady driving that car, by the way, too. Just can't.
Are you kidding me? She's had it since it rolled off the showroom floor.
Yep.
No Ma'am will be right back to wrap up this week's review. Be sure to join their Facebook group page for all the podcast news and updates. Be sure to subscribe to them on the Apple Podcast app, and please leave a review telling them what you think of the show. To subscribe to their YouTube channel, just go to channels and search up Married with Children podcast. Now they're available on the TV Time app. Go to your app store and type in TV Time. Join their Patreon and support your favorite podcast with a small monthly donation. You can email them at marriedwchildrenpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for checking out this review.
I guess we'll give it to our guest of honor, who we're really glad we're able to do something with again.
Yeah.
You did a great job, dude. Thank you for getting this whole podcast started. Amazing, and then we had the change up, and it's still going today, and it's great to have you come back once in a while whenever you can, Maybe we'll have you pick an episode or something like that.
Dude, I love recording with you, Alex, and Dan and Jamie are a blast. I had a lot of fun on this episode, and this particular movie I wanted to do. I didn't know that I had a lot to say about it. I didn't even know. I rarely ever review something that's, either not Married with Children or not horror, I guess.
Right.
So I didn't even know how I was going to tackle this, so it's kind of new. But I thought we really broke it down good. It's a great movie. I actually appreciated it more watching it with a critical eye, which is not always the case.
Right.
With nostalgic movies like this. But I actually appreciated it more. I really like this movie. It's probably one of my favorite movies, ever. It has a lot of replay value. There's minor things that are off, inconsistent with some of the story, maybe some of the editing and things like that. But it's kind of forgivable because after all, I mean, it's a movie about some kids who literally throw their babysitter's dead body away. So it's kind of hard to take it overly serious when that happens in the first 7 minutes. Right. But it's a lot of fun. It's a fun movie to talk about too. There's so many funny things that happen in it that you just want to share. I think that a lot. I've brought this movie up to people I've worked with and stuff. I swear nobody's ever seen this movie.
Wow.
Which is a shame. But I'm coming in at
out of 5. Oh, how many dead babysitters are we gonna stuff into a box?
So I'm going to stuff 4 1/2 babysitter.
Ew, gruesome.
Box.
How you gonna split her, down the middle or is the side?
Of course, down the middle.
Oh, so like Friday 3.
Yeah, no, it was the side, Jamie.
Oh, this again?
No, it was the middle. Okay, wow, 4.5. That's awesome. Yeah, great rating. Jamie, how about you?
I'm going to be right in line with that. This is a movie I always loved. I loved it at the time. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I was really surprised when I watched it yesterday for this that everything came right back. Mm-hmm. It was like I had seen it yesterday. Mm-hmm. And it felt just as comfortable as it always had. This was a movie I've always enjoyed. And I think, and Dan mentioned it earlier with the pacing, I think it's really good. I never get bored with it. I never get tired of it. I never, I'm always in it. And, it's fun and engaging with good characters that you enjoy. And the villains are so villainy that they're over the top, which, I think is it works for this. And you get actual arcs with the characters that you can follow and, you then become endeared to them. So, yeah, it's really well done.
Nice. How about you, Dan?
When you break down what nostalgia is to people, I think that the way I would explain it is, like I said, this movie encompasses it for sure. But I've seen so many other movies now over the years, looking at it, like JP said, through a critical eye this time, it was different. But at the same time, the nostalgia was still there. And I realized why I liked it even back then. It's because of all the themes and because of everything that they did with it. The jokes were good. And everything was just there. Everything was intact. And like I said earlier, like you just said, Jamie, the pacing is great. The characters are awesome. And I just think that it's always tough to rate how nostalgia comes into play in terms of, rating movies and how it pertains to your particular review. But I would have normally rated this a 5, but it's a 4.5. Just seeing it from a critical eye, there are some problems, like you guys said, but I think a lot of those problems can be looked past as well. So yeah, 4.5. I absolutely love this movie. I'll continue to watch it throughout the years. I'll, like JP said, you said that you mentioned it to your coworkers or whatever. This would be a movie that not only would I tell people about, but I'd really recommend it to people, regardless of what type of movies that you like too. There's always a lot of people that are give me a really good comedy, or give me a really good feel good movie, or give me whatever. And I think this kind of covers all those bases. So yeah, I would recommend this to a lot of people, and one of my all time favorites. So 4.5 for sure.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, what I love about this is there are 2 lines that I've taken from this movie and I've used repeatedly in my lifetime. And the thing about it is, no matter which one you throw out,
right,
people always know what you're talking about. I love that. So I'll randomly, somebody will say, hey, can I get this done? And I'll go, I'm right on top of that, Rose. Or, just randomly you'll say, the dishes are done, man.
Every time I
everyone
ever
knows.
do the dishes for the rest of my life, I am saying that. If somebody's next to me doing the dishes and they finish, I'm saying that.
I do it all the time. I did it the other day because Brian cleans the litter boxes while I'm doing the dishes. Like we'll do the thing, and then
Nobody can be in the room and I'm saying it.
I walked in when he did. I walked in when I was done, and I was like, "Dishes are done, man."
Yes. If I heard somebody say that, I would lose it. I'd be like, "You're the coolest."
Right?
I like you.
Yeah, you're right though. That's how I kind of gauge people too. I'm like,
yeah. How many references do you get?
Exactly.
That's how Dan and I got to be so close in the beginning. Was we reread each other really well as far as movie references go.
So many half-baked lines. Yeah.
I'm going to tell my staff that always tell me they're right on top of things now.
Just tell them, no matter if I'm on the phone and I ask you for something, you're going to say, I'm right on top of that, JP.
Yep, exactly.
I had the luxury of one time I broke a plate and it shattered on the floor and I went, the dishes are done, man. So it was actually closer to what he did.
I can't wait to break my next plate.
Right?
So, yeah, I also give this a 4.5 out of 5. It is a remarkable movie for what it is. I mean, so many well-done character arcs. Everybody grows. Everybody, even like Melissa matures in this movie, like they don't really leave much out. All the characters are so fleshed out. Zach being the least, obviously, but we know why. So it's really interesting that there's an actual reason that there was someone who fell short in the whole thing, because they obviously wouldn't have if he didn't have that problem.
I'm going to post a picture of Skarsgård, too, right next to this kid and tell me it's not his doppelganger.
I bet it was Gus who was selling that kid drugs.
All right.
Just such great characters. I love the whole setting. I love that house. I love the office of Sue Ellen and Rose.
Mm-hmm.
I just
all
love
the side characters are good.
The side characters, the potheads were good. The assholes were good for what they were. You really do hate them. So it works out. Yeah, I just like, there's no complaints except for like some things that we goofed on, but other than that, I mean, it's just like, it could all be chalked up to, well, they're kids, they didn't know any better, or, whatever. You could pretty much make excuses for most of it. So it's just great. I've been watching this movie my whole life, and it really encapsulates, like, my vibe in that time, and it's really cool because when shows or movies came out in like 90 and 91, they were really still coming off the 80s. And this movie feels so 90s to me. Mm-hmm. It doesn't even approach the 80s to me, except for those costumes, I suppose.
Thank you, Katrina.
But that could be just chalked up to like fashion, exaggerated fashion, because obviously nobody wears that stuff, Mm-hmm. But everything everyone was actually wearing in the movie was very 90s and not 80s.
So many shoulder pads.
Oh, yeah. What about that black lady when she goes in to the girl who was doing her QED reports, and that she opens the door and that black lady's in that like pink dress and those shoulder pads?
Right.
Did you see those?
I'm just a temp.
They were like, yeah, I'm just a temp. And she's like, can I help you? She just closes the door on her. Like, I didn't know what she was wearing. My whole life that startled me every time I saw her.
And honestly, like, we talked about it a little bit, but our own Christina Applegate did such a fantastic job.
Yeah. Without a doubt. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, she carried an entire movie like she's done this 1,000 times, and it was her first one.
And it was her first.
The thing that means more to me than anything is that it's my girl. It's Kelly Bundy, man.
Right.
Like, that's one of ours, and she's in this movie, and wow, what a job. God, and she really like I said earlier, makes me forget she's Kelly Bundy sometimes. She's so good at being Sue Ellen and so in zone on her character that I just buy into it. And I'm like, no, right now, that's Sue Ellen.
Right, I agree. Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, so glad she was in this movie. It's just the icing on the cake. Perfect choice. No one else could have been Sue Ellen. perfect. It's an iconic movie. It's a shame that more people don't know about it. It's a shame that I bought it for $3 in Best Buy, and it's a shame that it's not on Blu-ray.
It's not on Blu-ray, huh? I found a snapper joint at Goodwill last year, and it was like $2 or something. But yeah, I was like, definitely buying this.
Oh yeah. So hopefully we expose a little bit more. It gets more recognition, but that was great. I hope you guys enjoyed it out there from the dungeon, sort of. That was a review that we did in September of 2018 for the Married with Children podcast. Kelly Bundy's in this movie, so we did a special, and I haven't really done anything for the Skeleton Crew since the Alice Cooper Horror Hits special, and before that, Scream 6, so I just wanted to put some content out there that I thought Skeleton Crew fans might like, that we put a lot of work into. As you could tell if you're at this point of the review, we put a ton of work into this, gave very diligent notes, went all out, and it's kind of horror-esque in a way, sort of. At least the very beginning when the babysitter dies and they have to just like dump her off. But yeah, great little moment in time, 2018. And it was cool having JP from 22 Shots of Moods and Horror on. Jamie, as always, myself. It was so fun to do that. And I hope you guys enjoy this little 4th of July special. So guys, happy 4th. And who knows, maybe some more new content will be coming down the line pretty soon. We'll have to see what we could do here. All right, happy 4th, guys.